special. It's just getting hot in the studio.
Are you getting hot? It's getting hot.
Celebrate special day. We celebrate a major milestone for our next guest.
Yes, what started as a bold idea turned into a cultural phenomenon, inspiring a hit film and a successful musical currently touring the UK.
Yeah, beyond the fame, the Calendar Girls' mission has always been about making a difference, and they've raised an incredible £6 million for Blood Cancer UK.
25 years since they originally dared to bear all. We're delighted to be joined by Angela, Trisha, Linda and Christine, the original Calendar Girls.
OGs.
Morning, welcome to the sofa. We are honoured.
Oh,
Nice to have you with us, ladies. So listen, Trisha, take us back 25 years ago.
Yeah.
The original idea and where it came from.
Well, it was probably 27 years ago to WI meeting. WI do a traditional calendar every year which features pictures of hills and sheep and snowy scenes.
Bit boring.
Sometimes a letterbox. And we were asked if we had a photograph to submit for that calendar.
Yeah.
And I just turned to Angela and said we could do an alternative WI calendar featuring the crafts of WI but in the nude.
Yeah.
And she said as if. And it was a joke until John was ill.
Until then, John, you're
Yes,
John.
yes.
So then
John,
he was diagnosed.
Yeah, which was such a shock because he was such a healthy person.
Yeah.
And he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma,
Yeah.
which is a blood cancer. And it was such a shock.
So this spurred the idea, didn't it? And what did he actually think of the idea when you actually pitched it to him? He said, "Look, we're gonna get him out, Bob."
Yeah. He was in hospital because he was just ill for 5 months and he was in hospital all the time. But he did know about the calendar, and he said, he shook his head. He said, "You'll never do it. You just all talk."
And you don't say that to you lot, do you?
No, you don't say that to...
As soon as he says that as well, that's the gauntlet
to
thrown
Yorkshire
down then, isn't it?
feisty women. And we did it. And really, the rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he did know about it. And for me and my family, that was such a big thing.
Oh, of course.
That's so lovely.
Yeah.
Christine, I mean, doing something like this, going naked, I mean, it's nice with your mates and stuff like that, but actually having your photos taken, it really takes you out of your comfort zone.
Oh, it did.
What was it like for you, the experience?
Terrifying. I mean, I have to admit,
She
terrifying.
agreed after a couple of bottles of wine and then she regretted it. A couple of glasses of wine.
Well, as I've said on many times before, when you've stood in your friend's kitchen with her husband stood at the other side of the table pointing a camera at you, and you're stood there in your birthday suit with just a teapot between you and him, it's not normal.
There you are.
So good.
But
it was a big
Just
teapot.
doing September stuff.
It was a bit, but mate, I have to say, my dressing gown was round my ankles at all times.
Who said it was a big teapot?
It was. Because Linda, it was your husband Terry.
It was.
So you were sort of art directing the whole thing.
I was, yes. I found all the props for them around the house. Amazingly, you know, Terry had thought about each girl, how he would like to photograph her.
Yeah.
And we'll need this, we'll need that, Linda. So I was running around the house, finding the props, and it just worked. Everything was there.
Fortunately, they had a cider press.
Have you still got the props? I mean, you can never look at that teapot again in the same way.
Well, actually, it was a big kettle, wasn't it?
It was.
And
Sure,
it came from across the road at the village hall.
Oh, that's
because we needed a big one for Christine, because she was the bigger buns, you know.
Well, I really was pouring the tea because Terry wanted the actual tea to be covering a little bit of something. So but it was a tiny cup, so we kept having to stop, take the top off the teapot and pour the tea back in and start again. So
That spout was very conveniently positioned.
It was very cleverly done. Yeah.
You must have had so much fun and laughter that day.
It was.
We did.
It was.
Apart from
Christine and Rose Miss November, she was brave to do. Christine was brave to do, but we were just thrilled it was actually happening.
I love the story afterwards, though, because then obviously it becomes quite this kind of secretive, clandestine thing.
Yeah.
Because this is the age before digital.
Oh, yes.
We would.
It developed with someone you trust.
Yeah.
And really, just as emails were coming out, and if it hadn't been that particular time, it had never gone.
We'd have been
It
all
never
day.
done.
We
managed
had
keep
to
it
take the
secret.
rolls of film to this little
Photography
shop in Skipton and just say, please keep this a secret, don't tell anyone. And he did. He never told anyone. And he must have seen some terrible pictures of us.
But he didn't sell them to the News of the World,
No,
which
he didn't.
still existed then.
No.
He was really good.
He was good.
He developed them as a form of sponsorship
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
So he
That's
was a good
nice.
guy.
Yeah, he did.
Was you worried about whether or not it was going to sell once it
Oh,
came
we
out?
were.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we were going to have 1,000, sell them for £5 each and make £5,000 for the charity.
Right.
And we would have been thrilled and amazed with that. But then Terry found the printer who said they'd only do a 3,000 order. So we had an emergency
3,000.
meeting to think, who on earth was going to buy 3,000 copies of a calendar of us with no clothes on? And then we thought, we're going to go for it. What we don't sell, we'll mulch down, we'll make them into briquettes and we'll burn them on our fire.
But we didn't
Brilliant.
need to.
Yeah.
But it didn't work like that.
No.
They were gone.
So was there like a WI central office? And
Head office.
We went to, we took our mock-up of our calendar to the head office of WI. We were very scared to go and
the side.
and to tell them what we'd done.
Yeah.
And even if they had have said no, we don't want it, we would have done it.
We would have done it
because
and had
that's
to
why
leave.
Really?
that's why we called it alternative WI.
And when we
But they loved it.
and
They
when
gave us
but
their
these
blessing.
three ladies sat around and looked at it very quietly, and they looked at each photograph, and we thought,
We hate it.
then we're going to be kicked out of the WI. And one of them turned to the other and said, well, I know what I'm buying my husband for Christmas.
That's right.
And then,
We were away.
and then when it was a huge success, because it was tricky when I told our WI what we'd done, because we didn't tell anybody.
We didn't tell our
Because
WI.
we were determined to do it. And if you ask for a lot of advice,
You get
you
it.
get it. So we didn't want anybody to stop us or be negative about it. So our husbands had seen none of the photographs till the day of the launch.
Brilliant.
So we were really... But I had to tell WI in the February before and there was just silence. Went down like a cup of cold
Oh, did it?
silence. Nobody said a thing. I just sat down again and thought,
But seriously, this went global. It went all over the world. They made a film. I mean, how involved was you with regards to Hollywood? How involved in the film was you?
A real lot, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was 6 things I wanted. I wanted it to be shot in the Yorkshire Dales because John was the assistant national park officer for the Yorkshire Dales.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be all British with British actresses and actors because I knew there were some great ones.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to read scripts, sit round a table, and if there was something that we didn't like, that we could, talk about it. And I wanted high royalties for the charity.
Yeah.
And after 6
for
months,
you.
I got all
Got
that,
them all.
and I signed on the dotted line.
Since then, we've got the musical. Gary Barlow wrote the musical.
yes.
It's incredible. And Blood Cancer UK. I mean,
Yeah.
They've actually sent you a message and they've actually sent this from everyone at Blood Cancer UK. We want to say a huge thank you to you and the Calendar Girls. Out of the tragedy of John's death from blood cancer has come something very special and inspiring. It has not only brought attention to the challenges faced by those with blood cancer, but also helped to raise £6 million, which is just incredible, helping fund significant advances in the blood cancer treatment. The Calendar Girls' unwavering support is bringing us ever closer to the day where no lives are lost from blood cancer. Oh, I've got emotional.
yes.
Thank you, lady.
When we first started our fundraising, 9 out of 10 children would die from leukemia. And not just our money, but everybody who raises money for Blood Cancer UK. We've turned that round, so 9 will get better and 1 might not make it.
It's amazing.
So we have to keep going.
Well,
Everyone
I was
has
gonna
to
say,
keep
only one
going.
question left. Are we
And-
going to keep going for a number 2?
no.
No.
Or maybe you could ring some very influential friends.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But-
what I'm the odd one out, you say.
Oh, you're up.
Mr.
would you
Lai
do
has
it?
influential
I think
friends.
if we thought we were going to make another £6 million, I think we'd all do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'd get involved in that one. I'd get
Yeah.
the backside for that. Do you know what I mean? I absolutely will. Well, I'd have 2 flowers. Actually, they're not big enough.
Oh, that's a good...
Listen,
Yeah.
Angela,
Ladies.
Trisha, Linda and Christine, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us.
It's a
But
Powerful
Looks
stuff.
incredible.
Joined now by the author Heather Morris and Melanie Linsky, who plays Heather in the drama. Welcome to both of you.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks for
having
coming.
us. It's
Heather,
wonderful.
let's start with you. Series is based on the best-selling book, your book of the first name. So when did you and how did you first meet Lali?
I met him because I had a cup of coffee with a friend who simply said, I have a friend whose mother has just died and his father wants to tell somebody his story. That person can't be Jewish. You're not Jewish. Do you want to meet him? Oh, sure. I like meeting people. And I met him the next week. That was in December 2003. Mm-hmm. So nobody say this is an overnight success.
No.
It's a long time
I guess
ago.
my question is, so were you looking to write at the time?
No, not at all. Not at all. I had a perfectly good career. I was fine. He wanted to talk to somebody.
And you wanted to talk to someone that wasn't Jewish?
That wasn't Jewish, who would listen.
Because of you were one stage detached or removed from... Yeah. Okay.
There could not be a Jewish person alive, he said, who didn't have baggage and did not have their own story. And how can they tell my story when they've got their own?
Yeah.
Very clear on that.
So what did you do then? What was your... Because your initial take was to write a screenplay, correct?
Yes, because I didn't know how to write a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Because you didn't write a screenplay, you wrote a book.
Well, yes, I wrote the screenplay, and it was even optioned in Melbourne with an attempt to try and make it into a feature film. And Lally was involved with that production company. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
But, of course, it didn't get up, as so many do, as you probably know. And it was only, I think in 2016, when I was visiting my brother and sister-in-law in San Diego, that my sister-in-law said to me, oh, for goodness sake, write the thing as a book and get on with it. Mm-hmm. She was tired of me complaining.
Yeah.
I gave it a go. I wrote a book.
Yeah.
Did you feel a sense of pressure knowing that you had to convey this story in the right way and you owed it to him to make it fantastic?
Look, you got it in one. I owed it to him and nobody else.
Yeah.
And I had been very clear from day one that I had not written the story of the Holocaust, that I've just written a Holocaust story.
Yeah.
Lally's story, his memory. It will differ to every other Holocaust survivors. And so when the facts didn't always meet up with what he was telling me, and if it wasn't significant, I went with his memory.
Mm. That's so interesting, that, like how a memory crystallises, and the thing, especially when you've been through the trauma that Lally would have been through. Melanie, let's bring you in. So this gets optioned, this gets made. Mm. Obviously, you don't feature in the book, so were you hesitant to start with, Heather, that you were going to be a character in the adaptation?
No. Oh, no. No, that was never part of the deal.
Right.
It was to tell the book. But the wonderful producer and screenwriter who spent a lot of time with me, to get more information, and Jacqueline went back to Claire, the producer, and said, I think we've got a story within a story. And they arm up the back. And I could see the value of it, but not necessarily for my character, but for having somebody portray Lally as an old man who was the man I knew. And that hearing now his words and the way I had heard them. Yeah. And then we got this incredible woman here to come in and... You'll remember this is 20 years ago. Okay, I was younger, so ignore the grey.
For goodness sake.
So, Melanie, tell us, did you actually read the book beforehand, or did you get enticed by the script?
I had not read the book. I remember telling a friend, I got asked to do this thing, and she said, have you not read that book? And I was like, no, I haven't. She was like, oh, I thought everyone had read it. And so I read the book after I had read the screenplays. Yeah.
But Nepal was the screenplay.
The screenplays were wonderful. The story is so compelling. It's an almost unbelievable story and beautifully written.
We interview a lot of actors now. We know a lot of actors who don't deliberately want to go back to the source material. And they want to concentrate on the script and kind of do what the director and the writer feels like that part is. Just so, where's your mind at? Do you like to go and find out everything about it, or the opposite?
This was kind of a different instance, I guess, because I'm not in the book, so there's a remove because of that. And then also just out of respect to Heather, I wanted to read her work, and I also was sort of reading it, imagining her writing it, imagining, like, how would it feel to write this paragraph? How would it feel to have heard this story and decide what to leave in and what to take out? So it wasn't like an immersive reading experience, but it was educational.
But what an exciting role to take on as well.
I know. And I got to have my own accent, which was nice.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, 2 Kiwis.
Yeah.
It's like twins.
It must be nice for you, Melanie, because, like, for the most part, and you do a very good American accent, but you for the most part, you rarely would use your own accent.
No, never. So that was very exciting. Yeah.
Do you feel pressure when you're playing somebody real?
Yes. It's horrible. Sorry. Again, sorry.
Stressful.
I did find it stressful because it's also like you can't really do like an impression.
No.
You know, because my role also in the series is kind of an audience surrogate. Like, you know, there's these harrowing scenes in Auschwitz, and then it cuts back to somebody listening and taking it in. And there's a certain amount of like neutrality you have to have. So.
Well, up to recently, you thought you had Jewish heritage, didn't you?
I
A
did.
few years ago. Well, you would with your name, of course. It sounds cool.
Well, my name is Irish, as it turns
Really?
out. Yeah.
I should know that.
So what did you do
I'm
DNA?
only
And
Irish.
you have no Jewish. Oh, sorry, Belle.
Can we just
I
let's
was
go back
so
to Lali?
heartbroken. I believed it my whole life.
Let's go back to Lali and tell his story. So people that don't know the book, what did he have to do to survive?
He made the decision when offered the role. He called it numbering, by the way, not tattooing, but I thought that that would be too complicated to keep with that phrase. He wanted to live. He was offered an opportunity to have this role, numbering the prisoners as they came in, and he took it. Did he have guilt about that? Absolutely he did. Every survivor of Auschwitz and any horror has survivor's guilt. It's a matter of degree. He made that decision, but for him, look what the outcome was.
I mean, and to be fair, I guess it
woman.
wasn't a decision, because the decision was you either do this or you die.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
But he apologised every time he did it to people, didn't he?
Yes, and I know that for a fact. Oh, look, I'll do this briefly. I was actually in Auschwitz there one day, and there was a camp, a whole lot of kids from a school in Florida, and they were off to the side from me, and they had some rabbis there talking to them about where they were. And one of the rabbis said that before they left Florida to come to Auschwitz, he went and saw 2 women in his congregation who had been here. And at that point, my ears pricked up, and he said, I asked them, what do you remember about being tattooed? Was it painful? And in unison, these 2 women said, as if he'd given them the question ahead, I don't remember if it hurt. What I remember is the man who kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. They don't know that I was sitting there listening to that, being told to these things.
Wow.
What do you want people to take from this? How important is it that the Holocaust lives on in our memory and we keep learning from it?
I want people to watch these episodes, and you may not enjoy them. That's not a word we can use, is it?
Yeah.
But when the episode ends, feel something. Just feel something. Anger, frustration, love, hurt, whatever. It's going to make you feel something.
Well, thank you, Heather. Thanks,
Thank you so
Melanie,
much.
as well.
Thank you,
The Tattoo
Melanie.
Baskets airs on Thursday, the 2nd of May on Sky Atlantic and on Now. The book is available to buy now. Thank you.
Lovely. It's time to...
Welcome back, everyone. Hope you're very well. There is, of course, a reason why Alison and I are in ballet shoes. We're about to become honorary members of the Silver Swans.
That's very, very true.
Dedicated ballet school for the over 55s.
Now, thankfully, we are not alone. As you saw earlier, our classmates have been limbering up. Isn't that right, classmates? You all right? Yeah. It's good to see you. They are the most graceful swans you've ever seen. We've got Norma, we've got Brian, we've got Hetty, and we've got Chris.
And keeping them in check, because let me tell you, you have to, is Silver Swan ballet teacher Raquel Ashton. Something lovely for you to join us. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the Silver Swans. How do they come about? How do you get involved with them?
OK, so the Silver Swans is a ballet programme that was launched by the Royal Academy of Dance in 2017.
Yeah.
Yes. And its research was based on dance practice for older learners, and the focus is on health, well-being, mobility and building self-confidence.
So you don't have to have danced before to be part of it.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah, so
Yes.
nice.
And Raquel, you say working with the Silver Swans is your favourite members to work with.
They really are. They're the most rewarding group to work with because you literally see a transformation happen right in front of you. The bodies get stronger, more flexible, more coordinated, better balance, better posture.
And keeps you fit, doesn't it?
It keeps you very fit.
It keeps you very fit. Well, someone who's keeping very fit is you, Brian. How long have you been doing it for, and what is it you love about it?
5 years I've been doing it, and what I love is keeping fit by trying to be graceful to beautiful music. It's very simple. And you're not all sweaty and groaning in the gym or ploughing up and down a swimming pool. You're smiling and enjoying yourself. That's the great thing. I mean, the Royal Academy of Dance is the most amazing organisation. Everybody is lovely there. It is efficient, it is innovative, it is creative. It's a quite marvellous organisation.
And I suppose you get lots of friends as well.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We all get on extremely well together because we all have the same sort of ideas.
And how young are you, Brian?
I am very nearly 85.
Wow.
Are you joking, Brian?
No, I'm not joking, unfortunately.
It's because he's so fit.
Yeah.
He's coming to his ballet. Norma, what do you love about being in the Silver Swans?
I'm afraid my voice is a bit croaky today, but I just love the whole joy of it. It's a joyful experience, and I look forward to it every Friday.
Norma, did you have a late night last night? Is that what happened? We put you up in a hotel one night and you absolutely smashed it all night long. Is that what's happened, Norma? Is that what's going on?
No, it's not actually, but you can tease me if you like.
But you do see this as your highlight of your week, don't you?
I do actually, yes. I danced since I was 6.
And what I love about it is there's not too much pressure on you to get it right, is there?
Absolutely not. Exactly right. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, it's all right, Brian.
Yeah, no, but that is the whole point.
Yeah.
They don't pull you up when you do things wrong, which one does inevitably the whole time. The whole thing is about enjoying oneself and trying to do these graceful movements and failing in my case, of course.
Chris, let's go over to you. What got you involved, Chris?
When I was working with Age Concern, as one of the other colleagues brought in a magazine, the Saga magazine.
Yep.
In it was a feature on the Company of Elders at Sadler's Wells. Well, that looks good. Mm-hmm. Good for dance, good for older people, so I joined.
And how do you feel with that? What difference has it made to your life?
No aches and pains.
Oh.
Coordination has improved.
Yeah.
My balance, my posture, and it's given me so much confidence and self-esteem. You just feel so proud of yourself that you can do it at my age.
Builds up the old glutes as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Need a bit of that.
It's good for strength and stamina.
I'm with you. How old are you, Chris? If you remind me.
84 last week.
84. Hey! Congratulations. Happy birthday. Come on. Hetty, how do you get involved and what does it mean to you?
Largely mental health. It has been amazing.
Yeah.
The music, the dancing.
Yeah. I mean,
kept me on my
you look
feet.
like you've done Swan Lake a few times back in the day.
Little
I mean,
bit.
Did you dance when you were younger?
Yes.
Yeah,
I did,
okay.
yes.
And I know
But I didn't dance for 45 years. I didn't do a step until I came to Silver Swans at the Royal Academy of Dance.
Wow. OK. And I know it's helped you over some health concerns you've had as well. You had cancer, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and did that give you the motive? Were you doing it before you were diagnosed with cancer?
Only 2 classes.
OK.
And then I came back to it immediately.
Yeah, I was going to ask, was it a motivating factor in terms of you getting up and at 'em, I suppose, after...
Totally.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Totally.
So how do the classes work, Raquel? Is it because obviously, Hetty's done it before and some of the guys might be new, so is it sort of all comers and you...
Yes, we welcome everybody, so it's all inclusive. The classes are taken at a slightly slower pace, and we tailor parts of the class to each of the individual needs of the students.
Yeah.
The class is slower. We minimise pirouettes and jumps. You can do the class seated, working the arms and the legs. We can just give the option of doing just one half of the enchaînement, which an enchaînement is a number of steps put together. Mm-hmm. So they can just do half of that. They could just do the bar.
My wife does ballet bar, and she goes back after ballet bar, and she says it's the best exercise she gets. She's absolutely shattered in a good way when she comes back from it. It's just properly worked. It's a good core strength.
It's very good for core strength, very good, as you said, for glute strength. Yeah. It strengthens the legs, it strengthens the body.
And like Hetty said, it's great for mental health, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And someone who's, advocates mental health, charities and things like that, is Camilla.
Yes.
Our queen. She's been to the class. What is she like?
Yes. Oh, she's fantastic. She's also a Silver Swan and takes classes.
Does she love it?
She does,
Oh.
yes. Yes.
OK, well, listen, we've got 2 new students in the house today. So where do you want us? What are we going to do?
Well,
Dermot's ready.
Dermot is more than ready. OK, so just find a space at the bar.
OK.
So if we can... That's it, fabulous.
Sorry, Raquel.
I'm
That's
ready.
absolutely fabulous. Wonderful. Now we're going to put our feet in first position.
Oh, yes.
So we want to feel that we're drawing up at the front, pulling down at the back. Our heels are drawing together. We're picking up our elbows. Our shoulder blades are pressing down. And you can put your hand on the bar there, Alison. That's it. Fantastic. Good. Now from here, just keep your arm a little bit further forward, Dermot, so it's there. And just watch your thumb. Fabulous. Now from here, we're going to take a demi-plie, pressing the knees out over the toes, and then we're stretching. Keep those legs nice and strong, drawing up from here. And again, demi-plie, and coming up. Good. And again, demi-plie, keep going. And a stretch. Fabulous. That's lovely coordination, Alison. Beautiful.
Thank you.
And demi-plie, pressing the knees out over the toes. And stretch. That's it, Dermot. Keep your fingers together. And so a little bit closer together. That's it. Make sure your knees track over your toes. Fabulous.
Over the
Good.
toes?
Yeah, so over your second toe. And bend and stretch. Now let's see if we can go a little bit deeper now.
Oh,
And
deeper.
press, 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 press. Slightly release the heels off if you want to. And then slowly
Yes,
coming back up
Hetty.
again.
Oh, yes.
Hetty, all the way down.
Yes.
I'm going all the way down now.
Fabulous. Have a go. And demi-plie. And all the way down. Release
Okay,
your
back
heels. Okay. So if you imagine you have an egg on your head,
Got dizzy.
Alison. Okay. Just take it easy. Let's just
all right,
stop
Rebecca.
there. You okay?
Yeah,
Take a deep
bit
breath.
dizzy. I haven't
Tell
been
you
down there
what.
for a while.
Fantastic.
Absolute marvel.
That was lovely.
Okay. Would you like to do some more?
Well, we will, but we'll have to wait till afterwards. Right?
Okay.
Is that
All
right?
right.
I enjoyed
Okay,
that.
that's
Just a marvel. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Just as a little thank you for coming down. Although Norma was out all last night, so I don't know if it's... She is definitely the trouble ringleader. Thank you for letting us join your class, allowing us to become honorary Silver Swans.
Yeah.
We've reached out to a couple of our friends out there, and our friends at the Royal Ballet have invited you to spend the evening together at the Royal Opera House at London's Covent Garden. We'll be watching the Royal Ballet's brand new production of Swan Lake starting this June, one of the best seats in the house. As a big thank you from the Royal Ballet and, of course, all of us to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your time. Enjoy.
We will.
Welcome back. Oh, what's going on here?
Is it just me, or things got a little bit chilly and spooky in here?
It's a little bit spooky, perhaps. It's because in the United States right now, a couple, Rebecca Carmichael and Catherine Elaine, are waiting to tell us all about a mysterious man who's become the third person in their relationship.
He's called Rupert. He's from Wales. And here's a ghost. Good morning to the pair of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, thanks for joining us. I imagine it's very early there. Rebecca, let's start with you. So
Yes.
Rupert the ghost, he loves you, he lives with you. Who is he? How did your relationship start?
Well, it started with me walking past a very haunted place later in the evening time, and he was concerned that I was walking home alone. That was back in 2020. And let me just tell you, it was nothing that happened overnight. It's not like I was going searching and being like, yes, who can I add to, my dating repertoire? This was, I would say, a combination of fate and accident and a lot of open-mindedness.
Okay, well, I'm very open-minded, and I have noticed there's a third chair right there next to you. Can I ask the question? Has Rupert joined you today?
He is here in spirit.
Oh, lovely. And what does he look like? Because I've heard that you've made an AI version of him. Can you give us the lowdown on what he kind of looks like?
Yeah, so when he's very tall, which is very comical for me because I am 5 feet tall, he's 6'6". Wow. Goodness, I could do a conversion of meters and probably embarrass myself right now.
Right, no.
But
No, we do.
He is blonde, blue eyes.
Yeah. Oh, he sounds nice.
Wonderful. I'm getting Disney
And
vibes.
lean build.
Oh, we've got the picture. We can show the pictures. We've AI'd him up, right? It says you're AI. Can we take a look at him? Oh, yeah.
Dr. Scott.
It's Dr. Scott.
Yeah.
You're literally going out with Ghost Dr.
Do you know what?
This is our resident vet. Hey, listen. So, I mean, he's got the looks. But Rebecca, did you see him first, or did you hear him? Like, do you get apparitions, or is he just present?
That's a really great question. It's a combination of different senses. I saw him with my physical eyes, which is called clairvoyance. I saw more of him with my inner eye clairvoyance, so that's like mental imagery. And I'm also clairsentient, so that's the ability to pick up on electromagnetic shifts or to actually feel like goosebumps or heat or cold, that sort of thing. So it was kind of a combination of like my brain saying, something is there or someone is there. And then I looked up and I was like, oh, there's an outline of a man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some revolutionary from Wales from the 1700s.
And he's hot as well. I'd definitely speak to him. So, obviously, you then met Catherine, who came into your life and became your living partner, who you love dearly. How did you introduce Rupert to Catherine? And Catherine, was you cool with this situation?
Well, I came into this situation aware that Rupert existed, and
You helped to prove his existence.
I helped to prove his existence,
which is super cool.
because I am a paranormal investigator, so I had all the fancy tech and equipment that I could use to be like, hey, let's see if we can catch him on some of this equipment, and we did. So I was aware, and I was like, all right, I can handle this.
Nice. And Catherine, did you have your own side action on the ghost going on yourself? Did you, anyone that you were seeing at the time before you got involved with these two?
Wow, it's so funny you say that. No.
Not at all. So tell me how this relationship, Rebecca, tell me, what do you get from Rupert that you don't get from Catherine?
And vice versa.
Gasp. Oh, my goodness.
I'm ready.
It's a good
ready.
question, isn't it? It's a good question.
Break this to you. Oh, no.
Drama alert. Go for it.
So, one, I just want to lay out the context of the question might imply that either one of them leaves me needing in some area.
I'm great.
I would agree, actually. One thing with poly relationships, which I would consider this an extension of that, is sometimes you hang out all together. Sometimes you fill in time in different places. Oftentimes when I'm going on a walk, that's a time that I can spend with Rupert. And then coming back home, we can watch TV together. And sometimes we all hang out at the same time. We do have similar interests. We really enjoy going to historic places. Mm-hmm. And both of you fill my life in very different ways, emotional ways, and just, oh goodness, it's even hard to explain because I feel so full. And it's a unique thing, and it's certainly not something that I would say, hey, everybody, run out and do this, because no, I would not recommend. It comes with a lot of understanding, as you might imagine.
Yeah. Catherine, do you get to spend any one-on-one time with Rupert?
I do, yes. I do hang out with Rupert. We have talked about history together. I've asked him questions about from where I grew up, things that he might understand about where he's from. We just kind of hang out. We joke with each other. We both have a very similar sense of humor and
dry.
Yeah, very dry.
We like dry.
It's very dry, and it's great.
I've got a question. This is try. I don't know. Either of you can maybe answer it. So we would like to have Rupert here with us, invite him to the studio.
Obviously, we did invite him to the studio, didn't we?
So could he actually be able to come? Like, could he apparate in different places in your experience, or a ghost kind of stuck to the place that they inhabit or they're passed in?
Well, he was stuck for a while. I found him outside of a house that he would have been outside of in 1781. That was when Wilmington was occupied by the British Army. And he was a part of the British Army. I don't think I mentioned that. So the first time I saw him, he was in a red coat, which, I mean, that was cool. Like, that was cool. That being said, for a ghost to travel, oftentimes they need a kind of anchor point. So unless one of you are like psychic mediums or something like that, I don't think he could just pop over, you know, like it's not as easy sometimes.
Fair enough.
Gotcha.
We understand. Obviously, I'm in this story. I'm invested. However, there's going to be people out there going, this is a bit hard. They're a little bit cynical. What would you say to those people?
I would say it's just like when someone that you love has, you know, passed away, you don't lose love that you've had for that person. You continue to love that person even after. And I met so many people who were like, yes, I still feel my loved one with me. It's the same concept. It's just they met under different circumstances.
Correct. And Rupert and I have an understanding. He doesn't want to get in the way of me having a physical existence, of living a full life. He's not around to keep that from me. So that's why the two of us being together, that brings him joy. And it's the same thing with past loved ones too. Oftentimes, if a partner passes on, they want the person who's still alive and around to have a fulfilling life. Okay. And that's the most kind of selfless love.
Good for you guys. You're happy, you're not hurting anyone. You go, you live your lives.
You're living your best life as far as I'm concerned. Thank you so much for joining us.
Rebecca. Thanks, Catherine. Thanks, Rupert Oops.
I want a Rupert in my life.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Love you too.
I want a Rupert.
Will haunt you.
Will you?
To the day you die.
Well, if I die first, I'm going to do the same to you.
I want you to.
Now, our next guest has endured years of torment at the hands of a stalker she only ever met once.
Yeah, so Jenny Pickering, thanks for joining us, Jenny, was left too terrified to even close her eyes in the shower after her stalker, Jan Schlossler, bombarded her with sexual messages, moved near to her house to be closer to her, and even proposed to her at a workplace.
As her tormentor is set to be released from jail for a third time, Jenny is joining us to open up about her shocking ordeal in the hope that helping others, she can help. She's here with criminologist, a psychologist, Dr. Shoham Das. Morning to both of you.
Morning, both of you.
Thank you for joining us. Let's start off with you, Jennifer, because you worked in a centre which recruited people.
Yeah.
And you were just going about your day as normal. Yeah. And tell us from that moment what happened.
So I put an advert out, and as with everything, I got a lot of response. The person that responded to the advert lived in Peterborough, and this was Jan. I was working in Leicester at the time, and he wanted to be a driver. Now, as driving hours are, you can't actually drive over a certain amount per day. He wanted to add a 2-hour journey onto that, which was already strange for me. So I kind of pushed back a little bit, but he was quite determined that he wanted this job. So I said, OK, bear in mind you'll be travelling an hour there, an hour back. He came into the office, he spent 4 hours filling an application form that took 45 minutes.
Why was it taking so long?
It was a strange situation, but he was kind of just sitting at the end of the office, didn't need any help with it. But you can't force anybody to sort of say, you know, I need to fill this in, can you leave? So you just have to sort of
let them
carry on. Yeah, carry on. He was very much wanted the position, so I put him forward and he got the job, which then meant that he was working kind of with me on a weekly basis with checking in timesheets and making sure his hours were all correct.
But Jenny, just for context here, you've only met him in person once.
Once.
And for how long?
Probably spent 10 minutes talking to him,
right,
4 hours in the same building.
Then it's 4 hours in the same building.
Yeah.
And then your contact with him after that is just you checking in schedule-wise and...
Timesheets once a week.
So when did the red flag start?
Immediately.
Really?
He started to send me texts each day, just to say, I've had this, you know, I've had a good day, I've done this, done that. They started to get more frequent. It started to become in the middle of the night. I kind of felt sorry for him to begin with. I thought, OK, he's a lonely driver, he works long hours, it's just the situation that he's in. But then I started to realise that this is a little bit more. When I started to feel really uncomfortable, we reported it. So we reported it to the police.
Was that just a gradual thing?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, out of office hours is bad, but did it become inappropriate?
It did become inappropriate when it was reported. It kind of happened within 48 hours. So he was sending me a lot of messages, and then all of a sudden it became, he was sending me pictures of himself dressed up in a suit saying, I'm dressed up for you, I'm standing outside the car park, are you here?
No.
In Leicester, yeah, there's about 4 or 5 multi-storey car parks that I'd use, and he would go to each car park and send me a picture, always taunting me with the car park behind, saying, which car are you driving? I'll be here at 4:30. So every time I finished work, I knew he was going to be looking for me because he knew where I worked. He just wasn't brazen enough to sort of come in to me at the time. It escalated and he did then turn up. I'd already reported it to the police and he turned up, he stood at the window with flowers and a ring and he wanted to get married to me.
So did all your colleagues know what was going on?
Yeah, so we were talking about it on a regular basis and saying, look, it's starting to get a little bit weird. We were an office of women. We didn't have any men in there at the time. And we all sort of were of the same opinion. We know that as a woman, you know that you can have unwanted attention, but you kind of ignore it and it will go away. But then it got to the stage where I'd said, stop doing this. It's making me feel uncomfortable and you will lose your job if you carry on. And he carried on. And I think that's when we all started to say, what the hell's going on? Because you don't know him.
Do you think he's enjoying the fact that he's upsetting you?
I think at the start, he possibly did prey on the fact that it was just women in the office, because he was very aware of that. So when he turned up at the window, he came in and he was told to leave, but he did force himself... No, he didn't push anybody, he didn't force physically, but he forced himself back in the office on a second time that day, and that's when he was arrested.
And he was given a lifetime restraining order?
Wasn't immediately, so he was arrested and that's where it became scary. So I already felt uneasy. When they arrested him, they found a lot of things on his phone. He had been actively stalking me. He'd been staying in a hotel that was next door but then wrapped over the top of the office. He'd been staying in the hotel. He'd been in cafes across the road. He'd been, for some reason, taking a bus that looped round past the office just to look through. And at that very moment, when he was arrested that day, they found out that he'd actually moved on that day from Peterborough to live probably about 2 minutes from my house. He'd overheard as he was sat in the 4 hours where I lived, and he moved that day.
You must be thinking, what have I done to deserve... I literally spend like 45 minutes in your company and that's it.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Trying to get him a job, trying to help him as well.
Unbelievable. They literally rang me 11:30. They said, we're just releasing him. By the way, he is going to be living within 2 minutes of your house.
So it now feels like you're in this cycle of... He's got this lifetime restraining order, but theoretically, and he's not allowed to live in Leicester, but theoretically he could be living 5 miles away from you, and that's OK.
100%.
And every time he comes out, he just reoffends.
Yeah, he doesn't mean anything.
So then they just put him back in prison, but he doesn't care. So every time he comes out, he does the same thing.
Yeah.
So he's breaching it every single time?
Every time. He did it within 2 hours. He came out of prison on one occasion and he went straight into a shop, bought a phone and rang me within 2 hours of his release. And he just said, hi, baby, it's me.
Oh, my
And I was just sat there. I didn't even know he'd come out of prison and my mouth just hit the floor.
And how have the police been?
They've been amazing.
Yeah.
Really good. I understand that the law isn't necessarily great against stalkers at the moment, so they had to wait. And it was hard to begin with because I was a sitting duck. They had to wait for laws to be broken for anything to happen in a way. I mean, they did at one point tell me that I needed to collect DNA underneath my fingernails.
What?
And put my hands in my pockets because they thought he was going to attack me, and that would then give them the evidence to charge him. And that left me very scared to think that something's going to have to happen to me.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. Obviously, he's put Facebook statuses on that he's with you and things like that. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
How has this impacted your life?
It's changed me completely. I used to be really outgoing, and I'm not anymore. I just don't want to meet anybody because I don't know what they're going to do or who they are. And it's not that everybody's a bad person, but I never expected in a million years for somebody to be this unhinged. And I'm very caring as a person, and I think I justified it a lot to say you don't know what somebody's going through, they might be lonely, and it actually, you need to stand up straight away. As soon as it feels uncomfortable, stand up and say, because honestly, it's only going to be you that suffers.
You're
and that's
just being
how
a nice person, aren't you?
Yeah,
but that doesn't, you deserve your happiness, and you deserve your privacy, and you're just be able to live a normal life.
Yeah.
Shay, I'm sorry I haven't come to you first. It's just such a sort of compelling story. So, OK, firstly, how does someone become a stalker? Why does someone become a stalker? What sort of stalkers are there?
Yeah, so there's different categories of stalkers, and we can categorise them in terms of their motivation, right? So you can get your rejected stalker, who is somebody that's already been in a relationship with the victim and they're trying to reconcile the relationship. They won't take no for an answer. Then you have a resentful stalker, which is not necessarily about a romantic connection, but it's somebody who feels aggrieved. They feel like the victim. It could be an argument over property, for example, and they do whatever they can to make the victim's life hell. And then you have an incompetent suitor, which is what I think is relevant in Jenny's case. So that's somebody who genuinely thinks that what they're doing from their perspective is romantic.
Like a fantasist.
Yeah, a fantasist. And there's even a subcategory of that called erotomania, which is a mental illness. And I do wonder whether Jenny Stalker has this, even though he's not been diagnosed with this. And that's having delusional ideas, so actually believing that you're in a relationship.
See, what I don't understand, though, is how he's been declared sane, because it just doesn't sound like rational, sane behaviour.
No. It's hard to know for definite without assessing him in person, but it's not inconceivable that he could have hidden his thoughts and his delusional beliefs because he knew that it would be the quickest way for him to leave hospital. Because I believe he was in a psychiatric unit.
He was, yeah, and he was calling me from the psychiatric hospital.
Oh, my God.
Do you think these stalkers can really love in their head?
It depends on the category. So if you've got somebody like a resentful stalker, or the one that I hadn't mentioned yet, which is the predatory stalker who gets a perverse pleasure from making their victim feel uncomfortable, and I think there is an element of that in Jenny Stalker. I don't think those people can or want to change. But if it's something like a mental illness which can be treated in theory with medication, or if there's risk factors, so for an example, substance misuse is highly correlated with stalking behaviour, right? So you have people that become disinhibited when they drink or take drugs, for example. So you remove those kind of risk factors through rehabilitation, then you reduce the risk of the stalking behaviour.
And Dr. Shaham, can you spot early on the signs of someone who could potentially be a stalker?
Yeah. I think if you're previously in a relationship with them, then there are red flag signs, like somebody being controlling, dominating, controlling somebody's finances, watching where they go. I think in Jenny's case, there wasn't enough time to spot it, really. I mean, it happened so quickly. So worrying behaviour would be anything that makes the victim feel uncomfortable, whether it's unwanted attention, text messages like happened in your case, so anything that's just pushing the boundaries that feels uncomfortable to the victim.
Jenny, before we let you go, obviously we get so many people on the sofa that, like, just circumstance and life happens to them, and then, they become an unintentional expert in the world they find themselves in. What would you like to see change? Is there a law that could be more robust here?
I'd like to see a lot more support for people that are going through this kind of situation, because the first thing that I found was when it happened to me, everybody thought I'd been in a relationship with this person, and I had to keep explaining I don't know him. Yeah.
Met him once.
There's no advice that I could go. Even the Stalkers Helpline was geared up to say it was your ex-boyfriend, and it was just... I felt so lonely, and I think because we're all sort of, we're all online and a lot of more internet stalking happens, this is something that is actually really common but doesn't get brought first and foremost to the attention of, the nation, or go into the paper because it's just so... It's online, it's on Facebook, and it gets a closed deal. So I think there's a lot more that needs to be done with regards to support for people that don't know the stalker. And I would like to,
Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Charm, thank you so much for joining us.
Eczema is something that affects 1 in 10 adults and 1 in 5 children, and is a condition our next guest has been battling with since birth.
Now, Amy Aston had been managing her symptoms with steroid medication, but in January this year, Amy says her usual steroid cream suddenly started to burn her skin, making her eczema the worst it has ever been.
Yeah, so she hoped stopping her medication would resolve the issue. Then it made it worse. She was hospitalised and left fearing for her life after experiencing severe withdrawal symptoms.
Now, Amy joins us now to share her story alongside dermatology expert Dr. George McCreath. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, I just said in that very sentence, her eczema flared up. And I'm just going to come to you, George. Is it eczema, the flare-up after using the steroid cream?
Well, that is precisely the controversy. And the question is, yes, if you've got an inflammatory skin condition that's being controlled by a treatment like topical steroids and you stop those steroids, it will almost certainly flare back up again. And that's the view of most dermatologists, that they're seeing these patients whose skin's become inflamed, and if only they'd put the steroids back on their skin, things would calm down and get better. But the patient knows their skin, they know what's going on in their body, and they know that putting the topical steroid on in this condition is what's causing the skin to become totally unstable. And so it's a completely different entity. Not common. We don't know how common it is because there isn't a label for it that the profession has accepted. And so we can't do prevalence studies for this. But I think it's a lot more common than is acknowledged by the profession. And in this condition, the skin just becomes really wild. It becomes red all over, far more widespread than the eczema was. Red, painful, a pain beyond anything they've ever experienced. Itch of a different intensity, peeling, red and weeping and utterly inflamed. And it's not that putting more steroids on would calm that down. They would bite your hand off to have topical steroids if that was the answer.
OK, well,
it's the topical steroids that drive it.
Let's hear Amy's story, because this is what this is a lived experience. You've been through it. You've been on social media talking about it. When did you first notice that you suffered with eczema?
So as a baby,
so it's all your life.
Yeah, I've basically grown up with, diagnosed with eczema, and I've got various other things, like allergies. I've got celiac disease, so kind of autoimmune things going on with my body. But obviously, from an early age, my mum was given steroid creams to use, and she did so, from the advice of the doctors, and I've continued to do that, up until January.
And how was it working for you up until then? Like, did you feel the benefits growing up with it?
Yeah, so lots of people describe it as magic. They'll say that cream is magic. It gets rid of your, eczema, and but for me, it just, there was a turning point over the last couple of years where I just felt like it was that withdrawal. My skin it would heal, but then it'd come back with a vengeance a few
Even
days
though you were
later.
still taking it?
Yeah, and I'd put more on
Right.
to try, or I'd be given a stronger steroid cream to use, and it's just obviously progressed over the last couple of years and got worse and worse.
How did this affect your life?
I'm surrounded by so much support that actually I feel quite lucky in the fact that, my work are so supportive. My husband is my absolute rock, and, my family, my sisters, and, I've got such a good support network that I'm really lucky in the fact that they've supported me. But my mental health over the years has been so up and down because of my skin.
Yeah.
Cancelled plans, with friends.
Oh, I know.
Watching my children growing up, when I've just recently been in hospital, my daughter was about to take her first steps. And I was so worried that I was saying to my husband, sit her down. If she looks like she's going to walk, sit her down. I don't want to miss it. So, it's...
So you couldn't even lift up your baby?
No,
because it was so sore?
No cuddles. They knew, so they'd try and come to me and say, can I just give you a bit of a hug? And, yeah, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It has been horrendous.
So, Amy, when you withdrew and you came off the steroid cream, how long did it take before your symptoms got a lot worse?
So I stopped using them. I decided to stop using them myself in January.
Because of the pain?
Because of the pain it was causing when I was putting it on.
Yeah.
And I felt like they were making it worse.
Yeah.
So I just listened to myself and said, why am I doing this to myself? So I stopped. And it probably took a month for it to become at the height of the worst of it, where I was getting the symptoms of like swelling in my face, my glands swelled up, the burning sensation, but feeling freezing cold. Probably took a month to get to that stage, so it just got progressively worse over that amount of time, really.
So is it affecting your throat and everything, like being able to eat and stuff like that?
Yeah, I was in a lot of pain with my glands, everything's swollen. So yeah, it was affecting me in every possible way. It was affecting me, basically. Couldn't sleep because of the itching, oozing from every part of my skin,
Oh, my goodness.
George, so this is topical steroid withdrawal, right? The TSW. So it's not much is known about it. There's not an awful lot of research done about it, correct?
Correct.
So what do you think needs to be done? What can be done to help people like Amy?
Well, I think a number of things need to be done. Obviously, it isn't always topical steroid withdrawal.
Yeah.
So it can sometimes be an inflammatory skin condition that's been suboptimally treated. It could be an allergic reaction to the topical steroid, and that is described to topical steroid molecules. But there's this specific entity, which Amy has just described beautifully, and is devastating from the patient's point of view. A study showed that 16% of patients with this contemplate suicide. That's nearly 1 in 5. And part of that is because what I think needs to be done is the medical profession has been, to a large extent, blinkered to this diagnosis, partly because we don't know how to manage it. We don't know what to do. And for years, we've used topical steroids for inflamed skin, and that's our go-to thought. And suddenly, this is the thing that might be driving it. So we feel incapacitated. So the profession needs to accept it and listen to our patients and respect our patients and work with them, not against them. I've even had parents of children with this condition. It's usually young women between the ages of sort of 18 and sometimes under 18 up to sort of 35, more than men, but it also affects men, typically younger people, and mostly affects the face and the genital area, delicate skin areas, which are awful. And often they don't get much good response from the medical profession, so they don't come to us, so we don't know how often it is. But it can affect children. And I had the parents of a child who the doctors reported them to social services because the parents refused to put more topical steroids on their skin. And they weren't doing it because they knew the topical steroids were driving it.
And is there an alternative?
There's this war going on, and with social media and the medical profession, we need to come together. And the British Association of Dermatologists and the National Expert Society have been working fantastically to produce some guidance and some leadership here, and had written some position statements and working with the medicine MRHA, who license products, to try to get some acknowledgement of what's really going on here, so the profession can start to work effectively with their patients rather than against their patients.
Amy, is there anything you take now? Where is your life now? Is there anything that works for you?
That soothes you. And anybody out there who's in the same position, what would you use now instead of the steroid cream?
I wish I'd got the answers, but I can obviously only describe what I've been sort of doing over the last couple of weeks, but it's things like, Dead Sea salt baths. When I'm oozing, that really helps to kind of like stop that, and it's soothing, or oat baths. That's kind of the only time the itch kind of goes away, sitting in a bath, but trying not to stay in too long. I've bought myself a scratch star from Cozy Care that's it's supposed to help with the, my nails, at my skin.
Okay.
It's a softer, and they've got a nice smooth roller as well, so I've been using that. I've been trying out different creams that maybe, I think it's a shame because it's a case of trial and error to find a cream that is suitable for your skin. But different types of emollients. There's, the creams side of things as well.
Can I just
like I say, I wish I got the answers.
I do not want the message to go out there that people should stop their topical steroids. Because I could not manage skin disease without using topical steroids. And for the vast majority of patients who use a topical steroid, they are fantastic. They don't smell, they're really powerful, they're clean, and they're inexpensive. So for the vast majority of patients who have a skin disease that can be controlled with a topical steroid, they should continue to use them as recommended by the doctor, the right quantity, in the right strength, in the right areas. We shouldn't stop that. But when this happens, I'm delighted to hear that you can do this to your skin, because a lot of people say their skin is so sore they can't even wash. They can't put their skin in water, and putting an emollient on, which is normally soothing, stings intolerably. So this is a different, specific entity that needs a lot of research.
Well, Amy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you coming today.
Can help, some people out there as well.
Tell us what really happened in Buckingham Palace.
Morning, Mark.
Welcome to the show.
Lovely to be here.
Oh,
Good
I'm
to have you with
so
us.
excited. So you've interviewed a lot of high-profile people. This is something that you've done on a regular.
Yeah, nothing quite like this, though. I think the closest I ever came to it was Margaret Thatcher, just after she was dethroned. She actually made a record, which not many people know about, and I, again, turned up at Abbey Road Studios and just suddenly found myself in a room with Margaret Thatcher.
Wow.
And again,
part of me wants to just go down that rabbit hole.
Me too.
She made a record.
She did. She did a speech over an orchestra. I think I have the only copy available, but yeah.
And it's never been released?
No, it has been released, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And like that, but you knew what was going to happen that day, didn't you?
No, I also didn't know, but it didn't still have quite the seismic impact that this has.
So this is Newsnight. Have you done any work with Newsnight before?
I've worked with them a long time before, but yeah, this was the result of a friend of mine having left London, moved to Cornwall, couldn't do the job, and he said, "Why don't you try Mark?" So
Thank goodness they did.
Thank goodness for him.
Talk us through the day. What happens? You got the call, what, the night before, day before?
Get a call the night before, 6:30, sitting watching television, and phone goes, and they say, are you free tomorrow? In a slightly panicked voice. And I said, it depends on what it is, because I have this dishwasher coming and I don't wish to miss it.
Yeah.
And they said they can't tell me, and they said I've got 1 minute to decide whether I want to do it.
What?
See, I'm curious already.
Well, immediately you're in, aren't you?
I'm curious too at that
They're
point.
playing a blinder there, because there's no way someone says you've got a minute to decide, you go, well, do it.
Yes, no. Well, I put the phone down, looked at my wife, and we thought, well, if it's that and they can't tell me who it is and I need security clearance, which is what they also told me, I thought I'm in. So I rang them back and said, yep, I'll do it, if you can tell me what it is. And they said, we'll tell you later on. And
oh, my goodness.
To get your snazzy shoes out.
They then said, it's in Buckingham Palace, that's all we can tell you. You'll need to wear shiny shoes.
Oh, my God.
Shiny shoes?
Shiny shoes. Dark suit, shiny shoes.
Quite a strange dictate, isn't it?
I have no idea.
And did you have some shiny shoes?
I did, but I think I was the only one there with shiny shoes, so maybe...
you were buffing them up all night, that's why.
So then what happens? It's the very next day, you get ready. Who actually got the dishwasher?
I moved it, but bless the company involved. I got it moved to another day.
Lovely, OK, that's a quite serious question. I just needed to know
This is the thing we all relate to, though, don't we?
I just wanted to know who picked it up.
Yeah.
A neighbour or someone
No,
in the
it did
family.
come.
OK, so what happens next? You go to a cafeteria next to Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, I'm sitting outside waiting, feeling a little bit like I felt a bit like a spy, which sounds ridiculous, but... You know, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know why I'm going there. And I mosey on up, having received a text. I go in through security into reception and wait there. And I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. And then a tannoy comes over that says it's the Queen's Laundry has arrived, the Queen's Laundry. So I stand up and have a look at the Queen's Laundry arriving, as you do. And
exciting. We did a strange way.
Was it quite a lot? Was it hanging or was it in a basket?
No, it was a large van that turned up. I probably shouldn't say any more, but...
So, Mark, by this time, are you thinking, OK, who could it possibly be? So it's got to be a royal, so are you sort of just ticking them off in your head?
I am, but I just couldn't also think of any story at that point which was really important and worthy, certainly, of Newsnight, because that meant it was serious. So, other than the Queen's abdication, which again was remote, and also, why would they involve Newsnight? So I hadn't got a clue, and I found myself with an intern. What a great job. She was an intern at Buckingham Palace, about 19 years old. Incredible. And we're chatting away, walking through the underneath of the palace. We go up in a lift. We suddenly appear in the big marble hallway that you can see in the photographs. And I had to interrupt her and just say, I'm really sorry, but I don't know why I'm here. I've no idea why I'm here. Who am I here to photograph? And she says, well, you're here to do the Duke of York. And I immediately went, hang on.
Duke of York?
Yeah. Well, I couldn't remember. Is it Andrew or Edward?
Which one is it?
And also, once I figured it out, why? So then the door opens and I go in the room. Camera crew are all setting up. I introduce myself to the people who I'd spoken to the night before and get a brief, which is just to shoot come what may, because
the
they are going
reportage
to...
kind of stuff, is it?
Yeah, they said, don't stop the filming, whatever you do. We will continue filming whatever happens. There's a chance that Prince Andrew may walk. We don't know what's going to happen. So whatever you do, get it. And I just say, well, let's shoot some stuff before, just in case it all goes belly up. And if we get a chance, we'll do it at the end. And that's exactly what we did. So everyone gets ready. Emily Maitlis arrives just in time, which I thought was a genius thing to do.
Very clever.
Then there's no
small talk.
Sort of small talk, and you know, it's all very professional. And they're just about to do the kind of clap that lines up the sound with the picture. And I just stand up and say, look, we've got to stop because I need to take my photographs. And also, you've left all the breakfast in the back of the shot. And I mean, you know...
You're very brave to do that, to just stand up and go, stop, everyone, we can't start the interview just yet.
If you don't do that, you don't get your shot, right?
Well, not only do I not get my shot, and I also thought, I don't know what's going to happen, but I was just aware there was just a messy breakfast in the... Right. There's a remote camera, which was not being manned, and they hadn't really thought about it, so that broke the tension.
And when you are shooting during the interview, is your camera silent?
No, I had 3 cameras, but I didn't shoot during the interview. They said, don't... You're the PS on this. You know, it's the film it's about, so don't mess anything up. So I shot beforehand with Andrew smiling and Emily looking quite serious. And at the end of the interview, I went round the other side and did the shot, which became the kind of holding shot with the crane lighting.
And then you had him in the corridor as well.
And then there was the move to the corridor, which it was filmed at the end, but they used it at the beginning. And that's when they were walking down for camera. And then again, I also said, would you mind doing it again for stills? And they marched up to the end of the room, and I asked them, could they walk really slowly and not talk? And they walked really fast and they talked.
Yeah.
So I'm then running backwards, 3 cameras around my neck.
I don't know how you did it.
Trying to get them in focus, trying to not get them... But you can see in that picture the contrast between Prince Andrew's, almost his gait. He's moving quite fast, he's smiling, and the seriousness of Emily Maitlis reflecting how I think she felt about the interview. And we end up in a kind of huddle at the end. We've almost been running to get to the end. We get to the end, the call goes out, it's a wrap, and I suddenly find myself in this kind of 3-way cram with the other 2, and that's when Prince Andrew said, well, I think that went really well.
Yeah. What were your impressions, like, of the interview? Like,
I was absolutely... I was blown away by it, as the viewer would have been seeing it live. I think there were key moments which everybody knows about, the sweating and Pizza Express, all of these moments, and I caught the eye of the other cameraman on the other side just to kind of make contact with someone, but I didn't want to do anything dramatic because I didn't want anyone to realise that this was a bit of a shock.
This is an exclusive picture here that you haven't shown on television before.
Yes.
It's beautiful, actually. The colours and everything is lovely.
This is the discussion with that's Amanda Thirsk, who is the Prince's private secretary, and Stuart McLean, who's the producer. So it's the only one where you can see, actually, the crew involved and the calmness of the event, really, and the sort of seriousness of it.
And you are right, breakfast would have ruined it in that.
Do you reckon?
Thank you.
It would have been on that table in the background.
It's absolutely fascinating.
Thanks,
story.
Mark.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Day now, despite being fit and healthy, our next guest, Faith Harrison, had a heart attack earlier this year at just 22 years old.
After reporting chest pains and tingling in her left arm, Faith was initially told she was suffering from anxiety and maybe a stomach bug.
Now she wants to raise more awareness for heart attacks with young people and joins us alongside heart surgeon Dr. Steve Westerby. Morning to both of you.
Morning to both.
Good morning. Thanks for coming in.
Good morning.
So, Faith, super fit, playing hockey loads. All began when you started to feel unwell after a hockey game.
Yes.
And what can you remember after that?
So I couldn't pinpoint why I was feeling ill, but it was 30 minutes into my drive when my left arm started to get tingly, started to get numb. It felt like someone was sitting on my front and my back. Got home, told my parents something is wrong. Got progressively worse. I started violently vomiting, very dizzy, in and out of consciousness. And that's when we decided we needed to go and get some help.
Yeah.
Went to A&E. I was unfortunately told maybe it's a stomach bug, but after an ECG I was told, you're having a major heart attack, you need to go to Stoke and have emergency surgery.
So it was your dad who said, listen, we need to go to hospital, let's stop messing around. And initially they said it's probably a little bit of anxiety, a stomach bug.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts when you actually heard you're having a heart attack, you are now going to go down to surgery?
Well, I heard from someone else. I had to hear over the blue curtain. I was on a lot of medication at the time, so I couldn't really compute actually what was going on.
You must have been so spun out what was going on.
Yeah, my head was completely gone. I thought they were lying, if I'm completely honest.
I mean, you're 22, and it's like the last thing on your mind that you're having a heart attack. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, is this quite... this is very rare for a 22-year-old to have a heart attack, isn't it?
It is. It's very rare for a heart attack to occur in the way it did, but let's put it this way, they do, and people need to be aware of it. I operated on many babies who have had heart attacks because their coronary arteries had come off the wrong blood vessel. The coronary arteries that came off the blood vessel to the lungs instead of the main artery to the body, and it's the same story. Nobody believes the poor mother when she says, my kid is in distress, is breathless and everything else. So there needs to be an awareness that people of all age groups can suffer heart attacks for various reasons. Now,
and you need to listen to what the patient's actually saying.
Yeah.
If someone says, I've got some tingling down my left arm, that's a clue, isn't it?
Well, when you listen to Faith, she describes the classic presenting symptoms of a heart attack. She had it for an unusual reason. People just believe that heart attack is something that the older age group people get because of coronary artery disease. That is narrowing, atheromatous plaques and so on. Plaque breaks, occludes the coronary, and the muscle dies. But in Faith's case, she had a blood clot in her leg veins, which is a common occurrence. And part of it broke off, went up into the heart and across the so-called patent foramen ovale. Now, that's a hole in the heart that, as I say, all babies have in utero to allow blood to bypass the lungs, because in the uterus, the lungs are not expanded. So the right-sided blood goes across to the left side. In most people, that closes spontaneously after birth, but in a significant proportion, it stays open.
And is this what happened to Faith? She had something that she'd had since birth that they discovered when they did the surgery. Is that what happened, Faith?
Yeah, so I've always had a hole. It's kind of a flap, so it opens and closes when I do certain activities. So
and
I've
you never knew about it?
No, 22 years I've gone along perfectly fine, and then this has occurred.
Steve, can you tell us about, is it patent foramen ovale, PFO?
PFO, patent foramen ovale. As I say, very common. But there was a clue here that Faith had a problem. She'd had previously a blood clot to her lungs.
And did you know about that?
I had had 2 in my leg when I was 17 and 19, but they both went undiagnosed at the time.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're diagnosed with a blood clot to the lungs from the leg veins, everybody should have a cardiac echo. Because if you're found to have one of these patent foramen ovales, PFOs, you can have it closed. And in the old days, I used to occasionally have to close them surgically. I remember pulling great clots through the patent foramen back into the right side of the heart that were as big as snakes. Wow. The whole leg vein blood clot spins off, goes up into the heart and shoots across the foramen ovale if you've got a blockage in the lungs. So it's a very serious condition, and Faith needs that hole closed. It's still not been closed.
No, not as of yet. It will be closed.
Are you going to have the operation to have it closed?
Yes, it will. I don't have a date as of yet.
Yeah, but it needs to be closed.
Yeah.
How has this, obviously heart failure, how has this changed your life? Because you were very fit before, you did a lot of exercise.
Yeah.
What's your life like now?
So I'm able to do reformer Pilates, which a lot of doctors never expected I'd be able to ever get back into ever. So that's huge progress for me. I can't run, I can't play hockey, I get out of breath, I do get fatigue. So I do have long-lasting effects of heart failure, and I will for a long time. But I'm making do with what I've got available, and I'm doing my best.
Good for you.
Will that help after your operation? Like, will you ever get back to full fitness?
I've been told the pressure on the heart should reduce, which means I should be able to do a little more exertion, but I probably will never go back to how fit I was previously.
Yeah.
But we've got to get her back to that fitness.
Yeah.
You need an optimist sat next to Faith.
I bet you'd love
right
Steve
now.
to work on you.
Yeah, we all would.
Yeah.
Closing that patent foramen ovale will be done with a catheter. It's a nice technique. It's quick, and it closes the hole and makes her safe. But what Faith has been left with is a scar in the heart muscle. And scar doesn't contract, it expands. And what we found operating on babies that had had those heart attacks was that if you corrected the blood supply, the fibrous tissue from a heart attack was absorbed and disappeared.
Wow.
Now nobody believed that could happen, and we noticed that in Oxford. And that made me think there should be a way of engineering the same thing in adults, where once you get a piece of scar, it never goes away. So I got to know a Nobel Prize winner called Professor Sir Martin Evans, who engineers cells. He was the first person to isolate stem cells from bone marrow. And he produced a cell that I tested in heart attack patients in Greece, as it happens, because I couldn't do it here. And what we found was one particular progenitor cell that you can give from one patient to another without a rejection response, removed scar tissue, up to 40 to 45% of the scar tissue. So there needs to be optimism along these lines, that it's not a matter of just waiting and doing nothing and letting the heart failure develop down the line. You can be proactive. These days, with people with very badly damaged hearts, we can use machines. And when I'm talking about machines, I've got a habit of producing artificial hearts from my pocket. I did the last time I was with you.
Getting stuff out of them.
He's always getting the little
These are artificial hearts.
Yeah,
this one.
these little pumps will take over the whole left side of the circulation in somebody with a very severe heart attack. And I am suggesting that we can now remodel and regenerate sick hearts with cells. Engineered cells.
We've kind of run out of time, but just very quickly, for anybody who's experienced, what are the signs of heart attack? What are they?
When you're having a heart
varies to
attack,
different people?
it comes on quite suddenly. There's sudden occlusion of a coronary artery. You will feel pain in the centre of the chest, and it's crushing pain, and it tends to radiate, as we call it, down the left arm. And it's a crushing feeling. You will then feel short of breath as the pumping chamber, the main pumping chamber, the left ventricle, starts to fail, because it will not contract without any blood flow.
Yeah. And lastly, Faith, what would you like to do now? Like, I mean, you just being on this couch is probably raising awareness for people around your age.
I'd like to raise more awareness of heart attacks. They can happen in young people, and for doctors to recognise those symptoms, but also for people who are suffering heart attacks and the aftermath of heart attacks to talk about it and go to the British Heart Foundation to get that support that they need.
Faith, thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And obviously, if you experience any of those symptoms, 999 straight away, or anyone around you.
Now, after becoming the latest cosmetic craze on TikTok, a growing number of patients are undergoing forehead reduction, which involves surgically lowering their hairline.
Following years of feeling like she had to hide behind her fringe, 27-year-old Beth Hasey, have I said that right? Housey, thank you. Thank you, Beth. You spent £9,000 on treatment last month, and today she's here joining us. The treatment, I do apologise getting you.
Don't worry, that's fine.
It's so lovely to meet you. I've got to be honest with you, I have never heard of this procedure. No. When did you hear about it, and where did you see it?
I think it was a couple years ago. I actually saw it on TikTok to start with.
Yeah.
And thought, oh my God, like I didn't even know this surgery was a thing. I thought the only option was a female hair transplant, which for me, the growing out phase of the hair, I just wouldn't be able to do it. So I kind of started researching it, got in contact with the same surgeon, and then just kind of went from there. And then, yeah, like a year later.
So let's take us back a little bit. When did you ever think were you not happy with your hair for a long time, or?
Yeah, from when I was really, really young. I mean, I literally remember Googling like forehead reduction when I was like 7. Yeah, so that's my.
So that's your before. I mean,
but is that you scraping that back now?
Yeah. So that would be like with how my hair is now, which is this hairstyle is something I would never have done before ever. So.
Oh my goodness! That's your before picture. I think you look lovely.
Thank you.
Was there a time where you didn't mind it?
No, never.
There was never a time?
Never. I mean, when I was really young, obviously, you don't really pay much attention to those things when you're really young, but when the sort of comments started happening in school, I then had a fringe cut in, and I've pretty much had a fringe my whole life until now.
So you've always had that fringe at
Yeah, like
school?
a full block fringe or a big sweeping side fringe that used to be fashionable, but isn't anymore.
But the thing is, you are absolutely beautiful. I think you're beautiful now. When was the actual? I mean, this hasn't happened lightly, has it? You've researched this.
Yeah, it took
this
me
has been a long time
yeah.
for you to do it. When you actually made the decision to go ahead, talk me through the procedure.
So I got in contact with the surgeons, administration people, and booked for a consultation. So the first thing was a Zoom consultation initially, like a 15-minute chat, just to kind of see what my concerns were and that kind of thing, and then arrange an in-person consultation. So I went to see Dr. Greg Brann on Harley Street.
Yeah.
And he was really, really lovely. We kind of just had a chat. He had a look at my forehead and measured all like the different proportions of my face and said, I think this is where we should go. I mean, I wanted it really low, but he said, no, you look like you've got a hat on all the time. So let's go a bit higher. So I just went by what he said. And then, yeah, went away. You have an initial 2-week cooling off period where they say, just go away, think about it.
Yeah.
Don't rush, you know, just and let us know if you want to go ahead. And then I got in touch, booked it for the following March, and it was back in October that I went. And then, yeah, here we are.
So how long now since you had it done?
4 weeks tomorrow.
That's incredible.
And how are you doing?
You never know.
I'm absolutely fine, yeah. And that's another thing that was a big selling point for me for this surgery was its instant results, and the recovery time is quite minimal compared to a hair transplant.
But how much pain afterwards? Was there a lot of pain? You were on a
The
lot of
first few days, yeah, I was on a lot of like different painkillers and antibiotics and that kind of thing. And the first few days, I was in quite a lot of pain, but the tablets were really good. I was really, really swollen as well the first few days.
Yeah,
I had like
you
big
would
black
be.
eyes. But then after, I'd say the first week, I was pretty much fine. I was still taking a few tablets, but I was going out and about, like just, yeah. I worked from home as well, so I was back on my laptop working from home, so.
Looking back, Beth, do you think you would have felt like this without the barbs and without the insults and without all of it? Do you think
I think...
Like, I guess what was the real reason for getting it done for you?
So, I mean, a lot of the articles that have come out really, really focused on the bullying, but I mean, it was like a few nasty teasing comments when I was in primary school.
But they do affect you at that young age,
yeah,
don't
so
they?
that was obviously the initial starting point, but then going forward, it was just always an insecurity that I've had, and I don't know why or what kind of was the reason it continued, but yeah, it just did. And like I say, I had the fringe my whole life, and if I was like going down the street on a windy day, I'd be trying to cover it like this the whole time, and like swimming in front of people that I didn't know very well, that kind of thing. I was just always really conscious of it.
You feel empowered now?
Yeah, it's, without sounding too dramatic, I always say, it's quite freeing. And like, I just feel like I'm now, like, I can be my true self. I'm really confident. Like, I can post pictures on Instagram without a filter and that kind of thing.
So how much did they actually reduce it by?
So it's 1 inch in the middle and 2 centimetres on the sides, because I've got scars that go up here. So they brought the sides in as well. And then a scar along the front.
I guess the thing is, if you're a prisoner, even if you're a prisoner by your own making, you're a prisoner to it, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I felt like I was stuck with this fringe that I didn't want anymore. And like, I know a lot of people kind of say, well, just keep the fringe. Like, why have you spent that much money? But I did it for me. So, like, it's my choice at the end of the day.
Yeah, of course it is. Your money, your
You
choice,
look
absolutely.
absolutely beautiful.
What would you tell people that are watching this, that are thinking about it? Like,
I think,
because obviously, like you said, you've done this really responsibly. You've done it the right way. They're giving you the cooling off period. So, what would you say to people? Should they obviously think long and hard?
Yeah, definitely. I think surgery is a huge step, and I took a long time to think about it and make sure it was what I really, really wanted. But it can change your life, and it has changed mine, and I feel so happy now and that kind of thing. So I think it's life-changing, and if it's something that you want to do, research it and then go for it, like really do it. But make sure you go to someone who's reputable.
Yeah.
Do it properly, you know, don't cut corners, try and get it cheaper anywhere else. Just do it properly and then you'll be fine.
Great advice.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming in, Beth.
No, thanks for having me.
To dive into a rabbit hole of epic proportions.
Yeah, that's right. From wallpaper to wind chimes, sheets to screensavers, our next guests hold the title for the world's largest bunny collection.
So it all began 30 years ago when Steve bought his beloved wife Candice a stuffed rabbit for Valentine's Day. And you know what they say, rabbits multiply quickly.
Yeah.
The pair join us now from California. Thank you guys for joining us. Lovely to see you. Good morning. Well, where do we start? How did this collection get started?
Well, I started calling Steve my honey bunny when we were dating, and he liked that.
And one day, for Valentine's Day, I found a bunny that was in a giant balloon, and I gave it to her.
And I loved it. And so I gave him a porcelain bunny on our first Easter, and then before you know it, we're giving each other a bunny every day as a love token. and we still do that.
So this all started with love, really, didn't it? The love between you two, and it has grown so much. So the love between you two has grown, and now you've got over 45,000 bunny-related items.
We do. The Guinness record, the most bunny items in the world.
And you're surrounded by all those items now. Have you got any favourites?
Oh, no, couldn't possibly. We love all the categories.
I do.
Do you sort of forget sometimes what you have? Do you every now and again you walk past and go, oh, I bought that in 1986. It's lovely.
No. In the beginning, Steve would get me what we call dupes. And he's gotten better. He doesn't do that anymore. But everything is inventoried, so we can always check the catalogue.
Oh, wow.
Candice, Steve, do all your friends and family now just buy you bunny-related items, though?
Oh,
Yes.
sure. Always. They know better.
So is Easter a good time? Like, are there new, like, bunny items out now? Because obviously, you know, people associate Easter with bunnies. So do you get a chance to kind of browse the new, like, you know, bunny sort of summer 2024?
Well, yeah, the thing is that most people collect cats, dogs, cows, and teddy bears. And they can go any time of the year into a store and get a cow. But you can't do that with a bunny, oddly. So every Easter, we're guaranteed new items. And after Easter, we go all the stores because things are 50 and 75% off, and then we stock up.
Am I right by saying you are... So you've had to move all your stuff into a museum now because all your items got too large for your house. And am I right by saying you are and still the only bunny museum?
We're the world's only bunny museum. We're called an encyclopedic museum. We have everything from antiquity to contemporary art. And in our home, originally the museum was, and it was by appointment. And then 8 years ago, the museum moved into a huge building. And we're in an apartment now, and everything is out here.
Listen, I've got some skin in the game here. My first ever pet was a rabbit, and I love that rabbit. Do you have any real-life rabbits as well? Have you got a farm somewhere?
Well, what was the name of your bunny?
Well, OK, so... so it's actually in Irish. It was called Conin Dubh, which means black rabbit in Irish. My dad named it.
Oh, cute. We have 2 right now, but we've had 28 over the years.
Oh, great.
Wow, 28, right. So, and your bunny museum, it continues to, like, hold world records to this day, doesn't it?
Yes, I purposely submitted in 1999 to Guinness because that was the year of the bunny. And then oddly enough, in 2011, they contacted us and said, would you like to update your collection? And 2011 was the year of the bunny. So we did that. And so then purposely in 2023, we updated it. So every 12 years, we will be updating the collection. And no one will ever beat the collection.
Oh, nice. And you've got some favourite items with you at the moment, haven't you? Have you got any items that you can show us, like your favourites?
Well, you asked us, the producer asked us if we wanted to give each other our gift for today on camera, and we'll do that. So we hid our gifts from each other. Okay, I'll go first because mine's small. There you go.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Well, that's very cool. And with an egg, too.
A gold egg. And look at his tail is gold. Look on the back.
Wow.
Show them on the back. The tail is gold, like the gold egg.
And it gold around his ears, too. That's cute. That is very cute.
Yeah, that's a vintage box.
See what you're going to bring to the party now, Steve. Come on.
And...
No pressure.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh, it's handmade. It's actually a pattern. You can see the divisions where somebody sold it. That's very cute.
Lovely.
You two, look at that. I'll tell you what's cute. You two, Candice and Steve, thank you so much.
Thank you
for sharing your story. That is lovely. And, you know, your collection has grown just like your love there is beautiful. Ah.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Have a lovely Easter.
Thank you.
Happy
well,
Easter.
hop on over when you get a chance.
Oh, I'd love to.
Hop on over.
Thank you.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Bye.
Lovely.
I'm sure you'll remember our next guest as one of the most trusted voices on our TV screens during her many years as a BBC journalist and newsreader. 4 years ago, though, Kate Silverton decided to embark on a career change and now has retrained as a child therapist.
Kate joins us today as she publishes her new book, There's Still No Such Thing as Naughty. Good morning.
Morning,
Good
Kate. Lovely to see you.
Good morning. So, there's no such thing as naughty. For sure?
For sure.
How do you prove this?
Well, in the book, so if we benefit now from the most incredible neuroscience, specifically neurobiology, that really helps us to understand our children's behaviour. And essentially, when we understand the nervous system and how it drives all of our behaviour, our children's behaviour starts to make sense. And so this is why I say there's no such thing as naughty, because when we can understand that, we can respond to our children in a way that regulates them, and we see less of the big behaviour that we often ascribe to naughty.
I don't doubt we'll have mums and dads sitting at home, grandparents or guardians sitting at home saying, it's lovely to hear that, Kate, but I have a child that displays naughty behaviour. Can you explain what you mean and perhaps how they can cope with the naughty behaviour in the terms that you see it?
Yeah, so I start the book by explaining what I call construction, which is understanding how our children's brains develop and their nervous system. When we understand that the brain develops in sequence, so the bits of our children, the bits of the brain, the prefrontal cortex that I call the wise owl, that regulates big behaviour and big emotions, doesn't finish its development until our children are in their 20s. So,
wow, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I didn't realise it was so old.
No, this is why I wrote the book, because as a parent, you go, why is this so hard? Why is my child lying prostrate on the supermarket floor? Well, actually, what we understand as a tantrum is actually a neurochemical wildfire. So if I said to you that under fours need help with their emotional regulation every 20 seconds...
Wow.
Because they haven't got a fully developed prefrontal cortex that's the part of the brain that helps us to regulate big emotions. So our children are all wandering around in the world, dealing with all sorts of stuff every day. And what happens is their stress response, which is their nervous system's response, I feel a bit frightened, I feel a bit nervous about this, that's sending up a whole neurochemical wildfire. And without our help, if we just see them as naughty, sit there, do that, you're being naughty, not understanding that actually their nervous system is just fizzy, as I call it.
Yes.
That they might be afraid, they might be anxious. So if we see it as naughty, we're not then helping our children to regulate and bring themselves back to balance. And that is what is key for good future mental health, because we want to learn how to regulate our emotions and how to manage stress. So that's our job to...
I love that analogy of it being a fizzy nervous system, having had two boys now who are, Sam's nearly 19 and Jack's 17, one who had a very fizzy nervous system, and the other one that didn't really, was much more compliant and just wanted to behave and was sort of, you know, a much easier child to parent. It was the younger one that didn't. So if someone has a child who's having a tantrum in the supermarket, and we've all been there, or is losing it and has this very fizzy nervous system, how can you calm them down? Because often in that scenario, there is no calming them down.
No, and that's a really good question. So I'll use my son as an example. There's lots of examples in the book of where my own children, so my son's quite fizzy as well. And as an example, you know, he kept jumping up and down on the bed. Mike was going absolutely bananas, and he said, but my way of parenting, barking at him, get off the bed, stop being so naughty. He's like, right, what would Kate do? And actually in that moment is acknowledging, and what I call SAS, say what you see. He says to my son, Wilbs, you seem a bit fizzy. What's up? My son stopped jumping and said to him, I'm really nervous about my play date later. He'd gone to a new school, had a new friend, and the fizziness was his natural way, because we all have a natural way of exercising the stress energy. Our children do that when they're jumping big behaviour. He was just, and he's showing us, look, I'm fizzy, but he's doing it. His brain is sort of unconsciously showing us. So Mike's like, I can help with that. So say what you see. Sweetheart, you're either looking really cross, you're stomping your feet, you're on the floor, naming the behaviour, say what you see or say what you sense your child is feeling. Acknowledge, this is feeling really hard right now. This is feeling really, really hard. So you're engaging your child at that moment and then going into soothe. I'm going to lend you my calm and say, wow, you are having really big feelings. You're really disappointed. You're really frightened, whatever you sense the emotion is. And then we are bringing our children back to balance using our calm. It's the nervous system that we're really talking about here. It's not words, as you say, because in that moment, our children can't hear it. Their brain, the parts of their brain that are really fizzy, can't hear long sentences. So we've got to lend our calm, not join their chaos. And I explain how in the book with lots of practical examples and exercises.
Because one thing that you also express in the book is that quite often we put labels on our children, especially ADHD. I think actually labelling children in any way, shape or form, whether that's kind of naughty or loud or shy or what, I think that's incredibly dangerous anyway, because I think they grow into those labels. But you've kind of faced a little bit of backlash as well about ADHD diagnosis.
Yeah, so it's a complex, multifaceted subject in terms of diagnosing children. And to be really, really clear, this is always so difficult in interviews, but I'm not at this point talking, there are parents for whom children rightly, and I say it throughout the book, if you are concerned about your child's behaviour, if they're behaving in ways that do not make sense, that are frightening, concerning, always seek professional advice and support. It is absolutely right and proper that we go to seek diagnosis for our children if they're in distress, if they're struggling. Absolutely. So there's a cohort of parents here, and rightly, and what I say is, some of the assessments that are done, a lot of the assessments that are being done are rigorous and they're asking a lot of questions that are the right questions to be asking. And so if parents are finding that they've had the right diagnosis, they're comfortable with the diagnosis and their children are thriving as a result, fantastic. So I'm not talking about, I think that's the cohort of parents that have gone, and it can feel very triggering. And I completely understand that. My concern as a therapist working clinically with children, and what I have learned in my training is that a lot of the symptoms of ADHD in particular, or even ASD, are very similar to that when a child has experienced trauma. They overlap. So my concern...
What sort of trauma would that be, though, Kate?
Well, we can talk about small t trauma, which can be parents going through a very acrimonious divorce. It can be bereavement, a shock bereavement. It can be more complex trauma, of course, for children who are adopted. So as much as I've had a lot of parents even reaching out in the last week to say, for example, one just yesterday, my child is adopted, they're displaying all these symptoms, but we actually haven't looked at the experience, sadly. Now they're medicated, and she's saying, I'm just wondering if he needs therapeutic support. So what I want to do is to have a really calm conversation around, let's look at the child as an individual, make sure the assessments are being done rigorously, because that isn't always the case. As I say, if you are happy and your child is thriving, fantastic. But if your child has experienced trauma, or if you're concerned, let's just have a conversation and understand trauma and how it can manifest. And also to look at our environment now. Children are more static, they're on screens more, they're playing less, playtime at school, half an hour very often for children. We know that children need to be active. So a lot of neuroscientists and psychiatrists are saying we're concerned that we're raising children in an environment that's just not conducive to childhood. So, and that can create fizzy symptoms. So we want to look at all of this holistically and not in a really divisive way. And as I say, I have to stress, I've got lived experience. I've lived with the symptoms myself of ADHD. I get how much of a struggle it can be. And so I've got every compassion for parents in that situation. But I want to be sure that we're looking after all children.
I feel calmer just talking to you, Kate.
Yeah, it's about educating yourself, isn't it?
We're out of time, unfortunately. We didn't get onto all sorts. You must come back.
Will you,
I'd love to come back.
The screen thing, I think, is huge. Naughty step thing, I think, is really interesting. And sort of all of those things that we've touched on, they're all in the book. There's some amazing practical advice. If you are parenting right now, you need some help and support, because there is no manual for it when the babies arrive. These sorts of things can really help. Kate, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
joins us now this morning.
Good morning.
So lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you.
We'll get on to the brilliant Ben Cat in a minute. We'll get on to the happy stuff.
I'm slightly nervous about getting there, so we'll stay with this.
I want you to tell me everything.
OK.
Kate, we've lived this for the last 4 years together. Obviously, you've been a part of those documentaries, but this last documentary, by virtue of the fact it was the third one, and tragically, of course, we lost Derek just a couple of months ago, was there ever a point, and you must have been filming it for months and months, where you considered not putting it out?
Yes, there was, you know, being honest. So after he passed away, so 10th of December, as you know, we may talk about that as well, he had a cardiac arrest, which led to massive bleeding and hemorrhaging, and ultimately, on the 3rd of January, took his life. And after he passed away, obviously you're just consumed with that grief and things like the funeral and the children, his mum and dad and all those things. Lucy Wilcox, brilliant producer, rang very upset because, of course, she'd become very close to Derek and said, you know, we do have this thing ready to go virtually. What do we do now? And my initial reaction was, oh, gosh, it can't end now. It's too painful. But then I thought, having talked to his family, that actually that was selfish of me, because I was thinking about my feelings about it and the reaction I might get and whether it was appropriate. But actually, it was Derek that chose to make this documentary. And it was not really ever about me or Derek, although I know, you know, we're the faces on there. But it was about the system that lets caring people down, carers of all sorts down, and actually lets down the people that work within the system as well. I've had so much response from social workers, from health workers, from, you know, people who are often seen as the people making decisions that are unhelpful, saying we are so frustrated, that I thought, well, you're doing it for that. Derek wanted to do it for that. Actually, plough on.
Well, yes, because that was one of the things I took away from the documentary. As fresh eyes was that he wanted to be heard.
Yeah.
He very much wanted to be heard. So you were kind of put in this almost tricky place where you knew what he wanted.
Yeah.
But you are trying to work it out as a family and you're going through grief at the same time. How was it when you watched it back?
I couldn't really speak for about an hour afterwards, actually. And that was the sort of human reaction of...
That's quite unusual as well, Kat. I'll just point that out.
Everybody breathed a huge sigh of relief and took a moment to take a holiday. No, I couldn't really speak. I was overwhelmed. It was raw. Things that jumped out at me was just the unbelievably of frustration of seeing how well he was doing, how much progress he'd made. For him to have struggled so hard and fought so long, that's just a personal sadness for me. But I was always very keen that it didn't then look like a waste, because I thought about all the hundreds, actually, of specialists, doctors, nurses and carers that had given so much of their own time to try and make things better for Derek. And they do it for everybody. You know, it's just that my experiences with Derek... I wouldn't like them to think that that effort was a waste, because those 4 years had purpose, were precious, and we can't be in a society where, unless you're fully functioning, contributing in a way that we'd all like, you know, working, paying taxes, all that, where it's pointless, and it's not pointless. You know, life is life.
He had come such a long way as well, those 4 years. If you think about what you were all able to celebrate in those 4 years, thanks to those specialists who did everything they could to sort of give him the best standard of living, not least you getting your MBE and him being there that day.
Yeah, amazing.
Never thought it was possible, even actually 2 days before he was in hospital, but he was there, determined to be there, and how wonderful that he could be, you know, and that's a gift that we have.
There's something special as well, Kate, in the documentary, that people got a real sense of the connection between the two of you and how much love there was. I think you're really honest about the shift in how he could display his affection for you and also your role within that relationship. And that's something that resonates with a lot of the people that have been getting in touch with us with regards to caring for their partner.
Yeah, I think whether it's a partner, a parent, a child, a brother, a sibling, you know, big physical and, in Derek's case, brain changes the dynamic. And I certainly was very conscious for him. He felt disempowered in so many ways, physically, communication-wise, everything. He desperately wanted to, he would say often, I'm sorry I've let you down as a dad to the children, which, you know, broke their hearts. And they would say, no, you're our hero. And he didn't let them down, of course he didn't, but he felt like he did. And I'm sort of very aware that the things you do that you don't even notice in a relationship, like the little things you do when you know somebody so well, he physically could no longer do. So he didn't, you know, I wondered if he knew how to be, and we were in the process of working that out over the 4 years, and I feel we had got there. I feel we got to somewhere. And unfortunately, you know, the path ended. Yeah.
Their wedding was one of the most unique experiences.
Was
of my
it?
life.
Why?
It was an extraordinary occasion.
Yes.
Really loving and energetic and fun. And
great speeches, I'm imagining. Great
trust
speeches.
me, the speeches were the highlights. Certainly for me, Kate, and me.
Derek's was much better than others.
Yeah. But if ever you wanted to get a sense of what it was about Kate that Derek found so special, I thought there was an amazing moment in the documentary. We're just going to play this little clip,
this is brilliant.
which just sums him up and your relationship up so perfectly.
OK.
When did you meet Kate?
Met in Claridge's bar. It was a blind date.
Can you remember what you first thought of her?
Yes.
What did you first think of her?
I thought she was fit.
What else did you think about Kate?
Caring. Lovely.
Did you know you wanted to marry her?
Yes.
And then I love how the interviewer asks you the question and she says, did I talk too much? She said,
Can we ask Derek what you thought when you first met her? I was like, oh, God. What's coming now? Yeah, talks too much, I went for. But, yeah, that was pure Derek. There was a real bit of Chorley fit.
Proper joy.
I love it.
No.
Not classy, obviously, but fit.
But that's why...
But that was so great!
That's why it's so good, because it's his very essence that's
was
there.
absolutely there.
Yeah.
Absolutely there all the way through.
But it must have been so exhausting. We've talked about how the relationship changed, and I know there was a point where you cared for Derek solo for 10 days,
Yeah,
24
there were
hours.
chunks of time, yeah. And I honestly felt like I was going slightly crazy. You're so sleep-deprived.
Yes.
You're so stressed. There's so much responsibility. And, of course, you're also thinking about the children and what kind of mother you're being in that period. And, yeah, I don't know how you can do that for very long. And one of the messages I got yesterday is that the person that she'd cared for, her husband, sadly passed away, and she said she realised she did it for 2 years, sadly didn't have longer, but found that afterwards she just felt she was so angry because I'm frustrated, and felt like I did, which is there's so much time spent arguing for things and ranting about things and making appeals which take so long when you're asking for time for doctors to represent their evidence, and of course they're busy and they've moved on, and then you come down to it and you think, I can't convey this, and if you can't see this, and then of course you feel very guilty for asking for it, but when it's life and death, when you know if you don't ask for it, you have to, and you don't like the person you've become because you feel like you're rowing with good people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I totally do. And
sorry, that sounds very confused, but you just think, I don't want to be this person. I want to be this person who says, thank you so much. But you're doing it on behalf of the carers who go, we need you to speak for us.
And actually, that was one of the things for me for the documentary. You were so honest about that. You were kind of drowning beneath this paperwork and trying to juggle everything at the same time.
Not just the paperwork, though. Now, obviously, I was aware of this as we were going along.
And you were helpful.
But it's the debt as well, Kate. You have been sunk into hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of debt in a desperate attempt to offer the care you could. for Derek, and you are in a privileged position compared to all of those carers. There were some amazing carers in the documentary.
Absolutely.
And I wonder how you balance those two things up now. You know, the fight to get all that care for Derek. Sadly, Derek's now gone, but you are left with this legacy of debt, which you are still going to have to pay.
Yeah, and I will pay it. I will pay it, absolutely. And I don't regret it. I don't begrudge it. And, you know, it was the right thing to do. Of course. It was the right thing to do.
You have no choice.
No, you have no choice, you know, and... but I think that, you know, it is... You know, people... I was lucky because I had a job where people understood and gave me time to rush off to hospital a moment's notice or be around or go to the appointments or be there to care. You know, there were times... There was one time when they cancelled the care, which turned out to be a mistake, one evening, just before I came onto GMB. You were on the next day with me, and I had to ring poor Neil Thompson, the editor, and say, I can't come in because I don't think anyone's going to turn up. And all they said at the time was, we'll call an ambulance and take him to hospital and leave him there. I mean, GMB didn't say that, let me be very clear. No. They said, do what you need. But that was the unofficial, official advice. They said, this is all we can tell you to do. Now, in the end, the carer did turn up, even though they didn't know they were going to get paid.
Oh, wow.
Because they came, because they turned up. And that's the people that you're dealing with. You know, they're travelling a long way, they don't always live near you. They came. And for those that are professional carers that are doing it on their own, you know, it's a massive thing. And I don't even think it's political, really. I think it's all of us. We've just got to realise that we have to make this a priority. Because
as a society.
As a society, we have to, because we're all going to get sick, we're all going to be vulnerable, we're all going to need it, or be the person doing the caring, probably both in a lifetime. And so we have to find a way of making it important enough to us, apart from when you're in it.
Yes.
And then it's all you think about, you know.
An amazing thing happened last night watching the documentary, because I was following on social media and the reaction from people suddenly understanding your motivation and Derek's motivation for wanting to make this documentary. There had been quite a lot of criticism, though, that people angled towards you in terms of sharing this story and how you've shared the story. I wonder how you've processed that, Kate.
Well, I think people are probably a bit bored of me, frankly. I think they're a bit bored of me banging on about the same thing, it seems to them. And I understand that, really, and I don't think I would have made a third one because, you know, if it hadn't been that Derek wanted to. But I'm glad I did, because what I've now realised is that people say, oh, just because you're on the telly you're talking about this. Yeah, actually, because those other people can't.
Yes.
They don't have a place to talk about it. Yeah, and they're saying to me, please don't give up, because I can't tell anyone other than myself in the mirror or my long-suffering friends who also can't do anything. So I sort of have to, and I'm sorry about that. And I hope that if people do watch it, I know you can watch it on ITVX, then maybe they will see that it's coming from a different place. It probably just looks like, oh, for goodness sake, Kate, stop going on about your own problems. There's enough problems in the world. I'm really not meaning to talk about my problems. I'm trying to go on about everybody else's problems.
From my experience of working with you, this is the one problem I'm very happy with you to go on about.
Oh, really?
As often as possible.
The hair,
however.
a bit annoying. But this you're happy about.
But this is some of the reaction we've had. Michelle, I'm a carer. We are welcomed into families that we look after. We get so attached to them and love them. My heart went out to Kate and to the children, and of course to Jake. You're amazing.
Jake is grieving himself. Yes. You know?
Yes. And what an exceptional young man he is, by the way.
Hugely extraordinary, life-saving. Carers are life-saving. They are. He's one of them.
Fiona, such a beautiful and powerful watch. You can clearly see the love and bond. I'm a care assistant, have been for 30 years. I love my job. As much as it's underpaid, challenging and hard work, I wouldn't do anything else. And this is Kate and Derek. How wonderful. So well done for giving Derek, the patients, the carers, paid and unpaid, a voice. We've been shouting for years. Let's hope the government, councils, MPs are listening. That's from Michelle. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I hope so. I hope we all do something, because we are all going to want change, aren't we? There's a lot of pressure on money at the moment. Everybody's counting the pennies. But when you're at that moment on your own in the middle of the night, either the person who needs care or the person that's praying a care will arrive, you suddenly sort of don't worry about anything else, you know?
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate, for coming in.
Thank you for having
Honest
me.
and brave and brilliant.
It's brilliant
Thank
watching you two.
Oh, well, thank you.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, we're loving it, aren't we?
We are.
We
loving
are.
it.
I say the real we.
He
are.
said
We
to
are.
me, I've so traded up. And I said, yeah, you so have.
I thought you were going to say, I've trained her up. I've trained her up.
Oh, no, we're getting there with that. Don't worry. I've traded up. Now the training begins.
Thank you, Kate.
We'll have to get you back at some point. You can fill her in on all our deepest, darkest secrets.
can't wait.
The ones that we can't talk about
Preferably
now.
otherwise.
Well done, Kate.
All
Very
right,
proud
thank
of you
you.
and the family. Love to Bill and Darcy as well.
Of course.
Before all of that, parents and grandparents across the nation will know George Webster as the BAFTA-winning CBeebies presenter on their screens.
Over the years, George has made a name for himself by not only being the first Strictly contestant with Down syndrome, but also as a charity ambassador and best-selling author.
On World Down Syndrome Day, George and his mentor Claire Taylor are here to tell us about the release of George's new book, Why Not? Morning to you, Bo.
Morning, Bo.
Morning. George, you went like that when I talked about the BAFTA. You've got to let me big you up. How was it winning a BAFTA?
Oh, it was amazing. I feel really proud.
Yes.
You should
And it was so surreal. Got to meet Danny Harm at Tracy Beaker was amazing.
Yeah.
He presented my award. So Silent Hero. It was brilliant. Claire squealed.
I squealed very loudly.
loudly.
Chairs went flying.
Yeah.
I love it. And your family came with you, George?
Yes, my family, my agent, Claire came and John came.
Yeah.
John Harkins. It was amazing.
The whole family.
Now, tell me this, did your mum cry?
Yes, my mum did cry. She did. Yes.
She was so proud. Well done.
Thank you.
Well
Nothing
done.
less than you deserve,
No.
George, though, because it's been wonderful to watch your career in such a short space of time. You've done some amazing things. Have you got a favourite thing that you do in all the...
I don't have any favourite things because I find it all really fun.
Right.
To me, it's not work.
Yeah,
it's fun. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we were talking about with Lulu yesterday,
It was
wasn't it?
exactly that, exactly. Do you remember when you first got your job for CBeebies?
I do, yeah.
What was that moment like?
Oh, that was amazing. When I got the phone call from Claire,
Yeah.
I was screaming down the phone. I was that excited.
I was so excited for you. I texted you and said, oh, my God, this is so exciting.
Yeah, it was so exciting. And I'm never leaving CBeebies.
Never, ever.
It's fun.
good.
Like a big family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit about your book, George. Why not?
Book Why Not is all about why not try new different things and find things that make you glow and I think things that make you happy.
Yeah, yeah. It's excellent.
It's a gorgeous little book, and I love the fact that you've got friends and family in there
Yes,
as well.
I
mean,
have.
that's your little sister.
Yes, it is, my sister Lauren.
But she's not that little anymore.
Not that little anymore, no. No, yeah, so we do get on. She can be a posse, but we do
Sisters are
get
supposed
on.
to be, aren't they? Sisters are supposed to be.
Yeah.
So talk us through what is the story here, George? What do you want people to read from your book and think, you know, I fancy doing that?
I would say to find the things that make you happy and that make you glow.
Yes.
And don't be scared.
No, ever.
Ever.
Because actually, some of the best things that you do in life are a little bit scary. They
Yeah.
kind of should be, really. And tell me about when you first saw the picture of you. I know Tim did the illustration.
Yes, Tim is an excellent illustrator. He's so good.
Yeah.
They are so creative. It's a team book. It's a teamwork, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Claire, there's something magical about watching George do what he does, and he's absolutely blossomed on screen, which is really lovely. But what you saw him first, like you were the person that sort of spotted what it was. I mean, how impressed have you been with what he's managed to achieve and also the importance of having him in that role?
Oh, gosh, it's been an incredible journey, and I'm just honoured to have been a small part in George's incredible journey to stardom, literally flying down on that Strictly ballroom floor on a star in a gold suit. So when I first saw George on a BBC Bite-sized video about busting the myths about Down syndrome, I noticed his sparkly eyes, his amazing kind of glow and aura that shone through the lens that is important in all of our CBeebies presenters for preschool kids. And just a warmth, but but something so special in George, and also just really important that he's a role model and the first BBC children's presenter with Down syndrome. So we're all at CBeebies mega proud, the whole family, to have him smashing, breaking boundaries and reaching for the heights.
Absolutely. Now, George, Ben is trying to get me all the time to do Strictly.
Yes. I keep saying Kat's got to do Strictly.
Yes!
Yes, see?
He's going to start a whole campaign. He's
Why-
going to get a T-shirt. It's going to be a disaster.
Tell her how good it is, George.
It's incredible. It's so much fun. When I went on it, it was a massive dream come true for me.
Was it?
Because you said do things that make you glow, and dancing for you is the thing that makes you glow, isn't it?
I love dancing, because I love performing in front of an audience, and dancing has always been a big passion of mine. And I remember I've been watching Strictly since it first started, and me and my sister would dance in front of the TV along. And being part of dance groups, and that has been a lot of fun. And doing Strictly was amazing. And I'm so glad that Amy has now come through.
Yes.
As a female. I'm so glad for her. She's a lovely person and a talented dancer too.
So do you think I'd enjoy it then?
You love it.
Would I?
Yeah, you love it.
I'm really
Yeah, you love
clumsy,
it.
though. I'm really...
Do it.
Pressure.
I've got Steph, Alexander, who does the casting. She's on speed dial. We can sort this out right now.
George, don't encourage him.
Okay.
Don't encourage him. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's been lovely to meet you
has.
properly.
Absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely thrilled that we can have you on. This is your book, George Webster's Why Not? Why not give everything a go? Do the things that make you glow. Go out there and give it a go.
Yeah, thank
Lovely
you.
to meet you both.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Claire.
Well, Smira and Sajjad are here now to bravely share their frustration at the lack of legal progress, as well as some stories of Nuria, a day after what would have been her 9th birthday. Thank you both so much for coming in this morning. Smira, I can't begin to imagine how difficult the last 8 months have been for you, for your family. Let's start with Nuria. Tell us a little bit about your miracle little girl.
She was my whole heart and my whole world. When she was born, yesterday was her 9th birthday. I didn't know I could love so much unconditionally. And I promised to myself to protect her fiercely. And this world that we are now left with, I cannot come to terms with it. I struggle every day. I question myself every second. Because she was my whole heart.
Said she had a light and a joy and a spirit that was sort of unparalleled.
It really was. She, I'd like to think we gave her some of that, but I think naturally, as a person, and she was a little person, her personality shone through in the first few months of her being. She enjoyed a good laugh. She was full of joy. She was so generous to the point at which we'd actually have to hold her back.
Yeah.
Sometimes promising her friends that her mummy and daddy would buy them the presents that she got for Christmas. Like, no. She epitomized the best of everything.
And she was your miracle baby, essentially, wasn't she?
She was. There was. We had. It was complicated, as many are. But she came through, despite some potential hazards. She came through, and we couldn't attempt again, through various mechanisms. And of course, lots of people share that. But she was our miracle. She was.
She was.
So, Smira, take us back, as painful as it is, to that day last summer, the last day of term. I can only imagine how excited she would have been about the summer holidays coming up. And you'd all gone to school, all the girls were there for a special presentation and tea party, is that right?
That's exactly what it was. It was their last day of term, last day in that campus building. The girls did a beautiful assembly she played recorder, and everybody spoke about their hopes and dreams. She spoke about hers. It was perfect. We then went out in the garden, and the girls came out via another entrance, and we waited for them to come out. And we were only supposed to be in that garden for 10 minutes. And we spoke to her. We chatted, she came out, she showed us, we told her how proud we are of her and how much we love her. And she said, Mama, Papa, I'm so excited. And we said, we'll get ice cream and we'll do a picnic.
She also said, I'm feeling a bit emotional, because she was leaving the building.
Leaving the building.
She was about to go to the upper school, so it was at a different spot.
Different campus, yes.
And this picture here is the picture that you took just moments before the crash. What are your memories of that crash, Samira? Because
like any mummy, photographs had to be taken.
Of course.
If they like it or not, mummy's gonna ask another mummy to take a photo. I question that photo every time I look at it, because we took quite a few. The others were on the grassy patch, and then we moved in front of the building to get the shot of the building. I question myself every day. Had I stayed on the grassy spot for 10 more seconds, we would have not been hit. So I hugged her and we shimmied along to get a photo. And she's holding that half-eaten pastry in her hands, which she never got to finish. That photo is all I remember. I know she leaves me, or I think she leaves me to go get another pastry. And I said, Neria, you've got one in your hand already. And I cannot remember. Maybe I'm scared, but I cannot remember what happened.
Because you were also injured too, correct?
I was badly injured, and I remember hearing things. I heard the ambulance, I heard the siren, I heard Saj leaving with Nuria, but I don't know how long after that was. I don't remember.
Right.
But I don't know where she was.
Right.
I don't know if she ran back to me, thinking her mummy is going to save her. I don't know if she saw the car. I will never know. I will never know.
Saj, the confusion that must have sort of overwhelmed everybody at that point would be hard to underestimate.
Absolutely. I did go into shock for a period of time. It seemed very unreal. It seemed incomprehensible that something like that would happen. It's not something you ever think could happen. And I genuinely don't have any sense of how long it took me to move from disbelief to concern to panic. And it was during the panic that I found Samira and Nuria. Samira was already being attended to, Nuria was already being attended to, Samira not. I do remember through all of that, however, the screams, the shouting, chaos. It was a scene of chaos. I remember that vividly.
And there was another little girl called Selena that was killed too.
Yes.
And was it just mayhem at that point?
It was mayhem. Again, it's hazy for me, but it was very chaotic. There were individuals, parents and school staff who sprung into action and were able to help support and I'm sure save people from a worse fate that they had. But Selena and Nuria, unfortunately, were very terribly injured. Samira was very terribly injured.
So tragically, the two little girls died. I think more than 16 people were very badly injured, including yourself, Samira. And you're still struggling with, I think, 4 operations later, a number of broken bones and...
Shoulder, ribs.
Yeah.
I think the rehab on that, I'd imagine, has been a good distraction because you've got to sort of get your physical well-being back.
Absolutely. I had 2 surgeries straight after the accident, one in September and one just 7 weeks ago. And I'm still not at the end. I'm in constant pain. My mobility is limited. I've had to learn to walk again. I cannot do the tasks that I did before. I do not have the life that I had before. And I am willing to park all my broken bones and take more for answers. And just to have a little bit more with my little girl.
Yeah.
Being hit in the same accident, you know, no one prepares you for this. This isn't the natural way. You're not supposed to go before your kids. But if you have to, a parent should be able to do the last rites. Saj had to do it on his own because I wasn't able to do anything for her. She left the home on that Thursday morning and she never came back. She never came home. I would have brought her home. I couldn't.
Saj, it's those answers that are key now for you, for
us.
Selena's parents, for the parents of all the little girls that were at that school that morning, and the teachers, because obviously there's trauma for all those teachers as well.
Yes.
And that's, I think, a real frustration is that the 8 months ago, the investigation to what's happening and what is going on feels like you're not getting anywhere.
Indeed, and you know, you're very right, Ben, to say that this we have suffered greatly, but so many have suffered greatly. This is a communal incident. A lot of people are desperately trying to deal with this and trying to find answers, and of course we're at the front of that queue. It is challenging. It's 8.5 months. We did our best to get through yesterday, New Year's birthday. We understand that there has been some progress. The best I can describe it is half the police's work is done, but half is outstanding. The challenge we feel is twofold. A, we're told that the rationale for the delay is anything from complexity to understaffing, which is quite a difficult thing to hear.
There's
understaffing, certainly.
And the other thing that makes this difficult is this wasn't a typical road traffic collision. Our girls were where they belonged. They were in the safest place they could be outside of their homes. And so essentially half of the investigation could, you know, potentially be accounted for. The girls were where they belonged. Something happened. Something intruded upon their school. So we find that a little difficult to swallow.
Yeah.
It's a bit difficult to swallow.
They weren't running across the road. They weren't doing anything wrong. They were in their school uniform. They were in their safest spot. It isn't a typical road traffic collision.
No.
Because they didn't collide with anyone.
No.
No.
We have a statement from the Metropolitan Police who have said are carrying out a thorough and extensive investigation into what happened. This is what they said. Our thoughts remain with the families of Nuria and Selena, who we know are greatly loved and missed. This was a tragic incident. We understand that the families want and need answers as to what happened. Specialist detectives have worked tirelessly to establish the circumstances of that day, including detailed analysis of CCTV and examination of expert reports. We have also sought early investigative advice from the Crown Prosecution Service. We recognise that the time taken can cause further distress, but it's only right and fair to all involved that we carry out a thorough and extensive investigation.
Well, that's a very familiar statement, if you forgive me. And it's what we have heard each time we've raised our cause in the public eye. So having heard it 5-6 times, it is again, it loses its meaning somewhat. I understand, complexities. I understand staffing. I understand all this, but I need to be understood too. We need to be understood.
And you just want some answers.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can blame you for that.
8.5 months is a long time.
It is a very long time. It's a long time.
And the statement that you've just read out hasn't changed for the past 4 months. You've got to help us out. There's got to be something more. Yeah. It's not for grieving parents to come and ask for just accountability.
No. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. On behalf of everybody, we can't reach out but give you enough love and support. I mean, she was, and the briefest that I've heard about Nuria, she was a very, very special, magical little girl.
She was joy.
And like you say, joy for all of you. And fingers crossed, you can get some of those answers you so desperately need.
Thank you. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So yesterday, 39-year-old Nicholas Hawkes from Essex became the first person in England and Wales to be sentenced for cyber flashing after it became a criminal offence earlier this year. He's going to serve over 15 months.
Cyber flashing is the act of sending unsolicited, explicit images, usually on social media, dating apps or airdrop, with the intention of causing alarm or distress.
Well, forensic psychiatrist Dr. Shaham Das joins us now with his thoughts on the issue, alongside women's safety consultant Karen Wybrow, who herself has been a victim of cyber flashing. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Karen, can we start with your reaction to that sentence, that custodial sentence that was given out yesterday, how important that is?
Really pleased, actually, to see such a significant custodial sentence being handed down for the first ever conviction for cyber flashing. Really good work by Essex Police, who obviously took this seriously and really pursued the case. But it is a specific circumstance, this case, that it's great that it sets a precedent, but it's going to be difficult to get continued convictions like this, I think.
Why is that?
So at the moment, there's you have to prove an intent to cause distress or upset sending these images. And we know that the vast majority of cyber flashing, actually, it's going to be very difficult to prove that intent. So really, it would be much better if this was a consent-based crime rather than intent-based.
And you've actually been directly affected yourself. Tell me about your experiences.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened to me, like millions of women and men, actually, but predominantly women. This has happened to me on several occasions through various different methods. So on social media, for example, through messaging on social media, through airdrop on the tube. So it's
on the tube?
Yeah, on the tube, I experienced it. So which is a different level of intimidation, because you know it's somebody quite close in proximity physically to you as well.
So just in case anybody at home doesn't understand how airdrop works, because there'll be some of our viewers that perhaps aren't into it, just can you explain what you're talking about and how that affects you?
So through your mobile phone, you'll receive a notification saying somebody wants to send you a message. Do you want to accept it? And you either choose then to accept or decline. So you do have that kind of slight edge to be able to decline that. But it's happened to me where I could see the guy trying to send a message to, I don't know how many people within that carriage, but I've since changed my mobile phone settings so that it doesn't actually have my name on it, just as a kind of level of protection against that
You can put your
again.
settings to contacts only, you can turn it off, but the reality is some of those, if you have open to everybody, and sometimes you need that for work, you get a preview as well.
Yes,
so
you
you
do.
can see what the image is. So someone is sitting in that train carriage, randomly sending messages to any of the people whose airdrop is on.
Yes.
Kerry has got in touch with us this morning saying when she was training at the gym, every day she would get sent pictures of from various men and their body parts. She never asked them. 3 of the men had girlfriends or wives, so she sort of knew who they were. And it's just that sense that men feel like they can do this.
It's a real example of like male entitlement, sexual entitlement that these men have, unfortunately, just to invade your private space, invade your privacy, and to really force something on you that you didn't ask to see. And it shouldn't be treated any differently from someone doing this in a physical space to you.
And so many women are affected by it. I mean, in this morning office, there's the majority of women have had a similar experience. How do you report it, though? How do we do that? Because it is such a new crime. It's hard to know what the parameters are.
I think the first step is it's really good that people are talking about it, because especially with younger people, they don't realise that it's an offence. It's become so normalised in society that people just kind of laugh it off and don't really think it's a big deal. So we need to start telling people, first of all, that it's not acceptable, both the people that are doing it, but also to our young people to say, you know, people shouldn't be doing this to you. You should be able to enjoy your experiences online without this kind of intimidation and upset and harm. But you need to screenshot, you need to document it, and then you need to report it to the police, because it is an offence.
One of the people involved, one of the girls, was only 15 years old that Nicholas Hawkes sent these pictures to. Probably hasn't had a phone particularly long. I mean, it tends to be around 12, 13, people change schools. There'll be mums and dads at home this morning watching this going, how can we protect our daughters from getting these unsolicited pictures? I mean, in terms of settings on your phone, you can set them up to do that, right?
You can, and I would urge every parent to do that. But also, there's lots of e-safety tips that people can give you, but the one most important thing is talk to your children. Actually have honest and real conversations about what's happening, because this might be happening in situations between peers as well. And we need to try and have some honest discussions with our young people about whether we should be sharing images, what's appropriate, what isn't, and how they can be used.
That's the thing no one thinks. Dr. Shaham, I've got two teenage boys. They go to a boys' school. As we've just been saying, there is so much about understanding the importance of being safe and not doing all these sorts of things. But the implication of this sentence, the custodial sentence, first, I'd love to get your thoughts on that. And also, what's the escalation process? Does it go from starting with something like this, cyber flashing, to being something more physical?
Sure. So, morning, Ben, morning, Kat.
Morning.
The first thing that I would say is that 15 months in general is quite a harsh sentence, but I think in this particular case, it is appropriate because this man, Hawkes, he had
his background,
a previous history. Right? So previously sexually offended against a minor. As you said before, the pictures that he sent, one of them was to a 15-year-old. He's already had a community sentence. He's not learnt from his mistakes. So I think it's absolutely appropriate, number one. Number two, it acts as a deterrent. You know, this is a new law and the police and the nation are taking it seriously. So hopefully it will deter other people that have these intentions. And to answer your question, Ben, in terms of escalation, absolutely. So these low-level kind of offences can escalate, and there's a number of reasons for that. So some of it is desensitisation, right? So the individual offender, they need to get more of a kick. It's almost like taking a drug to chase that high, so they escalate their behaviour, they make it more serious. And then another thing would be validation as well. So they get some sort of reaction, even if it's a negative reaction, which gets them to continue. And then finally, it's about pushing boundaries. You know, what can I get away with? And I think that's really relevant in the case of Wayne Couzens, for example. So we all know that he had previous low-level offending before he went on to commit his horrific crimes. And he got emboldened, and other people in this situation might become emboldened if they're not stopped at an early stage.
Right.
If they are stopped, though, if they are caught, can they be rehabilitated?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm a doctor, I'm a forensic psychiatrist. I work in rehabilitating offenders, and I think it's possible if there is some internal motivation and epiphany. It's quite hard to reverse internal perverse impulses and thoughts, but you can control the other risk factors. So, for example, if an offender is more likely to commit these kind of sexual perverse actions, if they're anxious or depressed, you can treat those mental disorders.
Right.
If it's because they're drinking and they're disinhibited, you can use drug and alcohol rehab. So you can kind of reduce the risk factors.
Well, that was the question I was going to ask you, is why do people do it? Does it stem from other things, essentially?
Yeah. So it depends on the actual offender and their makeup, but I would broadly categorise it into two camps. There's those who are using it as a clumsy way to flirt and to try and start a sexual relationship. And there's those who are actual sexual predators, those who get like a kick, a pleasure out of the control and domination of intimidating their female victims.
Do you agree with Karen that it's the same? The cyber flashing is the same as physical, actually doing it in public?
I suppose it depends on the individual victim. Some people will find it very, very intrusive, regardless of how close the individual is. Other people might feel more intimidated by knowing that somebody's physically in proximity.
Yeah.
So there's a massive overlap. I don't know if I'd say it's exactly the same.
I think the really scary thing is that 76% of girls aged between 12 and 18 have received unsolicited photos. 12 years old is...
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
It's shocking, isn't it? And I think part of the problem is that, you know, unlike us, the kids nowadays grow up with mobile phones, don't they? So I think it's become over-sexualised videos, you know, sending pictures between boys and girls who are in relationships in schools. There's a lot of peer pressure. It's become almost normalised.
Protecting them is important.
Yes.
Karen, a lot of the women getting in touch with us today talking about dating sites. There's a lot of online dating. It's become a hugely important part of people's lives. Diane, Sarah, Melanie, they said more or less opening any dating app, any message that's been sent will have some inappropriate pictures for some strange reason. Sarah says most men will do this. They'll send it for whatever reason. It's like that's become part of the protocol with these things.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, become much more common, obviously, than it used to be, because so many people use online platforms now to meet new people. But, you know, actually Bumble was the first company that started campaigning. I was campaigning alongside them to make cyber flashing a crime. And they do use software to blur any image that's sent through the app.
Right.
And there is more that Ofcom could do to, you know, put pressure on other platforms to do that sort of thing. There are ways and means that we can prevent this happening. But we do need to have definitely this social conversation about what's appropriate and what isn't, because I think many men are quite confused about what women want to receive and what they don't.
Well, let's hope that this case sort of draws a line in the sand, potentially, and could start shifting how people perceive these things. Thank you both for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.